Boy, ready to roll. That boy look like he go on the court. He can't play. I can't get next.
It's cold for Florida.
All right, y'all. We give praise, honor, and esteem to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Go to John 5:39. Search the scriptures. In them you think you have eternal life. The day of the day was testified of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you. I have not the love which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only. Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. Believe not his writings. How should you believe my words? So, all esteem and honor to Abba and Shamahim in the name of Yahushua. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 4. And saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as from the beginning of the creation. With this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Elohim, the Shamahim were of old, the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. But the Shamahim and their rats, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved under fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promises. Some men count slackness, but is long suffering to us, ward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the Shamahim shall pass away with great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Then all these things shall be dissolved. What manner ought you to be in all Kadash conduct and godliness? Looking for and hasten unto the coming of the day of Elohim, where the Shamahim being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a new Shamahim and a new Arats, where dwell righteousness. So, we're looking at all the elements of creation. But before we do that, because I had an ignorant young man say something today, and we're going to have to go ahead and make sure we didn't talk about it before. This is what the conversation was, right? I'll tell y'all this here so y'all don't get caught up in this stuff, right? Do you know who started the Illuminati?
Like a real thing? Like
yes.
Masons?
You don't know the Illuminati. Do you know who started the Illuminati? The reason why I say that is because most people get it confused. Freemasonry and Illuminati are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Reason why, because a dude had a room today. He asked the question, can black people control the Illuminati? The Illuminati was started on May 1st, 1776 in Bavaria. Do y'all know about Bavaria? Well, it's in Germany if you don't. You know what I'm talking about? And the man name who started it was Adam Westphal. See, we was on this type of time in the 90s. See, we had to read books. See, it wasn't no YouTube video with some goofy nigga in his mama's basement. You know what I'm talking about? You make something for 2 hours and you watch it and you think you know about this type of stuff. See, I didn't know about the celebrity stuff until I got out of prison. Because all we knew was governments, militaries, you know what I'm saying, actual power structures and religious things were attached to this particular organization. You know what I'm talking about? Now, he created the Illuminati for one reason, mainly, and that was to destroy the word without touching it. That's Adam Westphal's words, not mine. You know what I'm talking about? He wanted to infiltrate high levels of society to disrupt the religious influence of the day because they have a great disdain for the word of Yahuwah. They wanted to destroy it. But they knew that they couldn't actually take. See, this is something most people don't understand. The word can't be destroyed because the word is everlasting and is forever. So they have to destroy it in the minds of the people to not want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? See, they can't take Bibles, if you would, and burn them. You know what I'm saying? So they have to burn it in your brain to where I don't want to be involved with this. Like I was having a conversation with Misha Auntie earlier, right? She says she a Muslim, but she don't really know nothing about Islam. She's a Muslim because her man's a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? But that's normal though. See, I've seen this, and most women are going to take on the religious ideology of the man that she is with. You know what I'm saying? Now you do have instances where she can influence a man to do what she's doing because he just wants to be with that woman so badly. But for the most part, whatever that man's doing, if that woman like him enough, she's gonna do it also. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at Islam, she's not even knowing like who is Islam for? Where it was originally created for Ishmaelites. So if you say you are Israelite, and you deal with the book of Yahuwah, you don't care what y'all talking about over there. Why? Because that's a different culture with a different God, a different way of living. I don't care that you try to sprinkle the Bible in there with it. You know what I'm saying? To try to give you some credibility in the eyesight of Israelites, because we don't care. Now, I've told you this before. You can research it yourself. The Catholic Church created Islam. And if you put the Catholic Church and Islam side by side, you will see some amazing similarities. You know what I'm talking about? You know the little prayer beads they like to touch on? Well, look at Islam. They do the same thing. You know what I'm talking about? Also, Islam venerates the mother goddess just like the Catholic Church does. See, my man's mentioned this other day. I'm going to see if y'all remember this here. The Immaculate Conception. Do you know what that means? According to the Catholic Church, not what they done told. Because the Catholic Church doctrine of the Immaculate Conception is not what the mass public believes that the Immaculate Conception is. Do you know, Doris? Have you heard? Do you remember Civic? Because we had the conversation. Yeah. Nah, he don't remember, man. Civic be drinking good juice. He be forgetting. The Immaculate Conception is not that Mary was a virgin and had a baby, but that Mary had never committed sin in her entire life. Because what Mary is Mary is representative of Ashtaroth, because it's goddess worship. Why you think they got all them statues of her and all this other stuff? They worship idols. Catholic Church has nothing to do with the word. Absolutely nothing. What do Muslims go do? They go walk 7 times around the stone and kiss a bowl. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do, look it up for yourself. You see them go to that cobblestone. When they pull that stone back where they got to kiss it, that's an over on top of that stone. They're kissing a vagina. Now, of course, Auntie didn't know this. You know what I'm saying? And that's understandable that she didn't. But I'm like, yeah, you're not going to get me with that. And see, not only with that, see, I know about Sunni Islam, Shia Islam, 5% Islam, Nation of Islam. I know about, it's all trash. Nation of Islam and 5% Islam ain't number Freemasonry. See, Freemasonry is different than the Illuminati. Everyone who is a Freemason is not a part of the Illuminati. Everybody who's in the Illuminati is not a Freemason. You know what I'm saying? Freemasonry is more involved with the Egyptian mystery school system, because that's what it is. You know what I'm talking about? I told y'all the other day, we had a Mason degree book while I was in prison. The God that they worship in the first 3 degrees is Shah, Bel, Om. You know what I'm talking about? That's 3 different deities in one. They trying to say Yahuwah, Baal, and the Hindu god Om. That's who they dealing with. And I'm just mentioning this, y'all, because D already know it. We were talking about earlier, right? You reach the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, you have to go to the Mason Hall in Washington, D.C. Have any of you ever been to Washington, D.C. and seen the Great Mason Hall, Washington, D.C.? Oh, it's a massive. You know, it's a big one downtown in Jacksonville. Oh, when you come across that Matthews Bridge and you going towards I-10, it's right on the right. It's right by McDonald's and Family Dollar. Massive building, can't miss it. No windows anywhere. Because they don't have windows, because I'm getting to why I'm talking about all this in this Proverbs 25. So I'm getting somewhere. I'm not just talking about this for no reason. So you dealing with Freemasonry, Black people couldn't be Freemasons. So Prince Hall, who lived in Massachusetts at the time, petitioned the big Mason Hall in London to be able to create his own lodge, just like D talking about. They're Greek fraternities that white people were in, you couldn't join, so niggas started their own. You can't be a part of them. See, you have Scottish Rite Freemasons, you have York Rite Freemasons. Black men could not be a part of that, so they started Prince Hall. You know what I'm talking about? But again, to the point. To get to be a 33rd degree Freemason, you go to the Great Mason Hall in D.C., and you have to spit on the cross. The reason why they had you do this, because after achieving the 33rd degree, you should have learned that Masonry rejects Yahuwah, rejects Mashiach, and rejects the word. That's why you do that. If you don't do that, that means you didn't understand what, and we read this in their teachings. I'm not telling you what somebody told me. See, you're probably not going to find that in no YouTube video. We had this stuff. We seen it. Like, this is what they own. You know what I'm talking about? See, most everybody just be knowing the hand signals. Look, that's when I was locked up back then. Everybody want to be able to go to court. You do this here, boy, you get off. That's what they be telling you. You know what I'm saying? You got to flash them, bro. You stand like this here. Now, when I was up the road, though, dude was standing somewhere, standing like this here, which is the stand on the square, and the CEO came up and tried to check him. Like, well, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously Buddy was actually a Mason. But dude wasn't trying to flash. He just was standing like that. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't realize that. You know what I'm talking about? See, we get caught up on the celebrities. The celebrities are nothing. They're nobodies. You know what I'm saying? Why are they nobodies? All they do. The purpose of the windows, because they don't want you to know what they end up doing. No Mason Hall has windows. Now, to get to this point, when you become a 33rd degree Freemason, you cross over to the east. And that's when you become a Shriner. That's why when you won't see a young 33rd degree Freemason. You know what I'm talking about? But that's why every time you see a Shriner, that's why they got the feds and all that type of stuff. They deal with all that type of stuff. That's why you see them, they always old. You know what I'm talking about? Because it take a while to get to that. And the reason why it's fresh in my brain, because I was just looking at, because I used to read about all the presidents all the time as a kid. You know what I'm talking about? And not just on some, let me read about John. No, like, especially Richard Nixon. You know, Richard Nixon resigned, right? Do you know who took his place? A man by the name of Gerald Ford. You know what I found out? Gerald Ford ain't even his name. But it's not on some wild stuff. His name, he was actually named after his father. But his mother left his father. She said he was an abuser. So she married another man. And then she was there. See, I ain't gonna lie. Because my homeboy said his sister did her husband like this, married a dude in prison and renamed all the kids after this dude. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I'd have found that woman kick a head in her chin if you take my, because Gerald Ford was a junior, was a second. Oh no, well, we're gonna fight about that. Yeah, we're gonna fight about that. That's disrespect. That's my son. You can't give my son another man's name. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's disrespect. It's all good you want to slide. And it said he wasn't even formally adopted. So that's disrespect, but that's neither here nor there. Gerald Ford was a known 33rd degree Freemason and Shriner. You can look him up on Wikipedia and it'll tell you that. You know what I'm talking about? So long, brother. Richard Nixon said he went to Bohemian Grove, and I quote that this was the most faggotiest thing I had ever seen in my life. Now, it's not a lot of presidents that are known Freemasons. See, a lot of people talk about it, but Gerald Ford was a known Freemason. You know what I'm talking about? He was known. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. George Washington also. But see, what the brother mentioned is, he said, do you think Freemasonry is bad? I said, absolutely, unequivocally, and without question. No, he said the Illuminati. Said, why would you say that? Because it's not of Yahuwah. That's when they were saying that there's different Illuminatis. No, there's not. It's only one. See, it wasn't called the Illuminati alone. It was called the Bavarian Illuminati. The Bavarian part just got removed. It was started on May 1st because of what? Do y'all remember the significance of May 1st? That's May Day. You know what May Day is, right? That is the highest day on the satanic calendar. You know what I'm saying? Human sacrifice is required. And it is the highest day of worship for witches and warlocks. This happens to be the day that they started this organization. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at that, when you look at a lot of great historical figures, most of them were Illuminati plants because they wanted to put people in certain positions to rabble-rouse society, to push society away from the word. So every war, every so-called revolution, every rebellion was engineered. Nothing was organic. They were all pawns used for the purpose of manipulation for man to damn his soul. So at the end of the day, what the Illuminati believed in first and foremost is that man was his own God, so he could worship at the altar of himself. But see, this gentleman tried to use this Proverbs 25 to say, he was like, oh, we should do stuff in secret. I say, absolutely not. If you are Yahuwah, we don't do nothing in secret. Come on, they're going to kill me. I say, you a coward, you a hoe. Because anybody who are Yahuwah, we don't fear no man. We don't care nothing about what you're talking about. We're going to tell you to your face. We're going to tell you in the open. Because Yahuwah is the realest of the real, and he's a straight up gangster. You know what I'm saying? I don't see you. I'm not scared of you. Remember what Jeremiah told them people. He said, if you kill me, you shed innocent blood, but you can do what you want to do. I'm going to still tell you what I told you. You know what I'm talking about? Remember what it said in John 10 when Mashiach, his brother, said, man, we don't do nothing in secret. But see, he tried to use this verse. All of that 12 to 13 minutes was to lead you up to Proverbs 25 and 2. Let it run.
The esteem of all kings conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search all the matters.
Pause. He says it's the esteem of Elohim to do what?
Conceal a thing.
You know what thing is? It's debar. Thing translates to debar. So what does debar mean? That's the word. I give him conceal by definition.
Sabar, that is to hide or conceal.
So he said it's the esteem of Elohim,
or to keep secret.
To keep secret a word. Now let me show you why he would say that. Go ahead and give him Matthew chapter 13, man. Pick it up at verse 11. After Matthew 13 and 11, Romans 16 and 24.
He answered and said unto them,
because speak up a little louder now.
Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of
It's given unto who?
Unto you.
Well, Gavin, back it up to verse 8 then, on general principle.
But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit.
Now remember, right? This is talking about the parable of the sower. So really go to verse 9 because we ain't trying to read all of that.
Who have ears to hear, let them hear.
What does the disciples do after that?
They came and said unto him, Why speak you unto them in parable?
Pause. What is a parable? The dark saying. What is a dark saying? You know what I'm saying? It's a similitude. It's a mystery. So I'm trying to think because we just talked about this and my mind went blank for us. So there it is. Remember Ecclesiastes 12 and 9. Y'all know what it say. Because the preacher was wise, he sought out many what? Proverbs to set them in order. Remember, do you remember when Mashiach say, don't cast your pearls before swine? Do you remember what pearls translated to in the Greek?
What's it?
Proverbs. You know what I'm talking about? So he say, don't cast your dark saying. You got to understand something, right? Because we finna get to this, and y'all should already know this or remember this. Remember this fine. Proverbs are dealing with what? The testimony of Yahushua is the Ruach of prophecy. So every dark saying, every proverb is really related to the testimony and gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach. So that means it is very precious. So that's why he said it's the esteem of Elohim to conceal that word. You know what I'm talking about? Because my testimony is in heaven and my record is on high. That's what he said. So when Mashiach came and resurrected from the dead and then taught his disciples that the whole book was about him, you know what I'm saying? So that they could go and do what? Teach other people the same. Now that's why I say, but it's the what of the king to search out a matter. Because that's what he did when he resurrected from the dead. Remember when we were talking about that you're supposed to teach the law when you walk, when you lay down, when you in your house, because all that is tied to when Mashiach was in the house of his father, he taught the word. When he was in the streets, he taught the word. When he went in the grave, he taught the word. When he preached to the spirits in prison, when he resurrected from the dead, he taught them the word. And now he has searched this matter out. But it was his honor to keep it secret, which is what we're going to see in Matthew 13, because he said it's not for them to know, it's for you to know. See, a lot of brothers, Brother Shaul. See, a lot of brothers don't understand how serious and how valuable the gospel actually is. They don't really see, dude. Let me tell you something real, man. And some of y'all know this because y'all were around. So what is it? 2022. So about 5-6 years ago, maybe 7 at the most. You know, with some brothers around here, they felt like, okay, we can do what you do too. Yeah, I'm schooling you to get you on that point, but they felt like we could do it too. Or people feel like anybody can do it. Now, my thing is, you can do what you want. I really don't care. Then, of course, what did Moses say in Numbers? I would hope to God that all these people would be prophets. Like, why would I care if it was 20 dudes right here and they all preach the word? That's the esteem of Yehuda. Don't take nothing away from me. People think that takes something away from them because they're insecure, they lack self-esteem, and they need validation of the crowd. I didn't need validation for a crowd before I was in the word. I don't give a damn if they like me or not. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if people around me or not. It's not going to make me look at myself any less. Oh, ain't nobody going to listen to me no more. Like, you was a goofy. Get a hold of yourself. You need a hug. What did Michael Jordan said? Stop. Get some help. You know what I'm saying? But individuals want to go out here and do this because they want attention. They need the validation of somebody telling them that's a righteous brother. They need that. Because everybody, let me tell you something, man. The man told you that. The gospel is the most precious thing that you'll ever put your hands on. The testimony, because it's the most valuable thing that you can possess. On the natural side of things, the most valuable thing a woman can possess is her purity and her modesty. That's the most valuable thing that she could possess. As a man, the most valuable thing that he could possess is his seed and his word. You know what I'm saying? That you are who you say you are, and your seed is the most valuable thing that you possess. Well, guess what? When you turn around and look at Yahuwah, when you look at Yahushua, what's the most valuable thing that he possessed? The seed, because the seed is the word and his word. So he's just not giving that out to anybody. Yeah, he cast the seed out into all ground, but he don't allow that seed to take root and bear fruit in any womb, if you would, as forth as example of your heart. Because everybody ain't gonna value it. Like, what did Paul say? He that is a steward got to be found what? No, faithful. Now give me Proverbs 20 and 9. Proverbs 20 and 9. Listen to it.
Who can say I have made my heart clean? I am sure for my sins.
Mm-hmm.
Diverse weights and diverse
That ain't what I
measures.
wanted, but it'll work. It might be verse 7.
The just man walking his integrity.
No, I'll tell you. I know what it says, but I'd rather y'all read it off the page. I don't think I got that page in this book. Abigail hold of this page. Abigail page. She was a small child. Well, you can find it in a second. But he said, every man, this is verse 6. That's not right. 20 and 6.
Most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness.
But a faithful man,
who can find
that? You know what I'm saying? Now give him goodness and give him faithful by definition. Mention the word for him too. Goodness,
chesed, goodness, kindness.
So chesed is the same word for mercy that you're going to see in Exodus 33 when Yahuwah proclaimed his name. So every man going to proclaim how kind he is, how faithful he is. You know what I'm saying? He say, but a faithful man, who can find that? Listen to it. What is faithful?
Amun.
What does that mean?
Faithfulness, trusting.
Trusting. How many men can be trusted? See, people think Yahuwah is some type of goofy and that he just trusts any and everybody who he come across. But what did we talk about the other day in Jeremiah 17, right? He say the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? He say, I search the reins and try the heart to give every man according to his works. So what does that mean? He gonna test you to see if you really solid like you say you is. You know what I'm saying? Like he just ain't gonna come up on civic cool. Is civic cool? Let's see if he cool. And remember, why were we talking about that Jeremiah 17? Because we were looking at Job too, right? When his wife was like, curse God and die, right? Because guess what? Because who idea was it for Job to be tested? It was God. It was God's idea. You know what I'm talking about? And for what to be seen? What type of man Job was. And at the end of the day, Job was solid. Job was solid. Job only issue is, remember, what it was really showing you, Job trusted in his righteousness because of his obedience to the commandments and not because of faith. And that's why that the Ruach HaKadosh can't be received by the keeping of the law. It's got to be from the hearing of faith. Because remember, he said he was righteous in his what? Own eyes. So he felt like I done kept all these commandments, but it should happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Yahuwah had to show him, look here, man. Nah, bro. Bop, bop, bop. And that's when he said, hey, man, I repent in action. I was dead wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, Yahuwah said that. You don't call me to move against this man without cause. He ain't did nothing. But guess what? Every man's heart is going to be tested. You know what I'm saying? You know how real easy it is to say what you about when everything's smooth and easy? See, everybody like things to be smooth and easy because you don't want your character to be revealed. You see the hallmark of a man's character in the times of adversity, not in the times of comfort. That's when you see what type of man you're dealing with. You know what I'm talking about? You'll never know that. You'll know a woman's loyalty and commitment to an individual in times of adversity, not when things are comfortable. See, it's different with a man. You're going to see his character is for how he handles stress and how he can be able to maintain and overcome adversity and solve problems in the midst of tribulation. But a woman, you're going to see her commitment and loyalty to whomever she's with in the midst of that. She could be single and you're going to see her commitment and loyalty to you. Because it's a lot of women, if it get ugly for a man, what's she going to do? She's out. I'm out of here. I'm not sticking through this. You know what I'm saying? That man could have been holding it down for 25 years. And she said, no, I'm good, bro. I'm good. That doesn't make her evil. Doesn't make her good. Just make her that's just what that is. She thinking about my survival. It's uncomfortable for me. I'm out of here. Is that emblematic of every woman who walks the earth? Absolutely not. Because you got some dudes that'll face adversity and stand tall like a champion. And you got some others, they going to fold up shop. You know what I'm saying? Some of them put a bullet in their brain. Some will put drugs in their veins. You know what I'm saying? Some will just outright quit. Because adversity gonna show you who someone is. That's why he say, blessed are those who endure temptation. How you think you ain't gonna be tempted when Mashiach told his two disciples that asked him, could they sit at his right and left hand? And he said, man, can you drink from the cup that I drink with and be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with? He was baptized in fire from the furnace of affliction, as Isaiah wrote. So how you think if the Lord went through it, how you think you gonna? Oh no, he got to see what time it is with you. You got to see what time it is with you. He got to figure out what you're talking about. Is you really down for the cause, or is you just running your mouth? That's why he say when persecution and tribulation arise because of the word, by and by, they are offended. Oh, shoot, man, there's too many examples to name. Brother Ellis just asked, what are some of the examples of the Most High testing? I can't speak to that. Because how he would test Johnny ain't how he would test Civic. And how he test Civic and how he going to test Robert. You know what I'm saying? So I can't speak to that. That'll just be speculation on my part. But one thing for certain, two things for sure. Give me 1 Peter chapter 1, man. Give me about verse 4. We still holding Proverbs 25.
To an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled.
Well, give him verse 3.
Baruch the Elohim and Father of our Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, which according to his abundant mercy have begotten us unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Yahushua Mashiach from the dead, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, and that fade not away, reserved in Shamahim for you.
That's right.
Who are kept by the power of Elohim through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time.
That last time.
Wherein you greatly rejoice, though now for a season.
For what? For a season you will what?
Rejoice.
No, because you had some manifold what? Listen to him.
You are in heaviness through manifold temptation.
You're in heaviness, you're a little sad because you got manifold temptations. Now pause. When Mashiach was about to die, what did he say? He was exceedingly even unto. That means he had some real live heaviness going on. You could literally say that man was depressed. We just had a conversation with a dude, I forgot who it was, but he was like, Mashiach had doubt. I said, man, he had no doubt. He had doubt he would have slid. He had doubt he would call for them 12 legions of Malachim, but he was in the flesh, and the flesh had no desire to do what had to be done. That's why he tell you the Ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak. Well, his spirit was willing to get up and die with no question and no hesitation. But the flesh is like, man, I don't know about this one here, bro. You know what I'm saying? If it's possible, man, let this cup pass. See, that's natural. People don't want to accept that. I remember a young lady asked me this a long time ago, and I never understood how they got this confusion. They was like, oh, so we going to be with the flesh forever? I'm like, yeah, while you alive. Like, whoever told you it was going away? Because some people get in their mind, I hear the word, I get baptized, I never deal with the flesh again. He never told you that. He told you that you was going to have to put your flesh to death and resist it on a day-to-day basis. But what is happening is you get in your mind to thinking that, oh, I'm not going to have to, it's smooth sailing now. No, the desires you have are still going to be there. The question is, will you yield to them? Now, there's a difference. If you put your flesh to death, the things that you once desired have no desire for you. You're not moved by them. So as I asked y'all a while back, you got to ask yourself, if it's still stuff that you desire to do, that you know ain't pleasing to you, you got to ask yourself, why do you still desire to do it? You know what I'm talking about? And I can tell you why, because you ain't putting that to death. Remember what he said in Revelation, have you not strengthened the things that are ready to die? There's some things that you ain't put to death, you need to go and put it to death. It don't serve you no purpose. As Paul stated, he say, what, you know what I'm saying, esteem do you have in those things which you were in previous times ashamed? See, we were talking about this other day also. This is the biggest problem with black people. I don't give a damn about America. See, nobody gets shamed no more. So, see, people care about people's feelings too much. You know what I'm saying? There was a time period, if you got caught doing certain stuff, you got put to shame. You know how shameful it was back in the days, man? Somebody went to showing out in school, man. Your mama come up there to that school and book you in that classroom in front of your friends. You got put to shame. You know what I'm saying? That don't happen no more. Because, no, you can't do people like, I literally seen a group of people say, a woman say her child was acting up in school, so she cut her hair to let her understand that her beauty was not the number one thing. And every woman in them comments was saying that was assault and she was jealous of her daughter. And I'm like, assault? Don't you hear how women in y'all generation, more specifically, I don't hear a lot of young men say it as often as women, but I've seen some men say it. They usually just been raised by their mama, not a man. Talk about how they were so traumatized. And when you ask them how they were traumatized, it's because they people didn't let them do what they want. Because when I hear traumatized, I'm talking about your mama beat you. Somebody sexually molested you. See, that's some trauma right there. You understand what I'm telling you? Like, trauma is this nasty nigga done came in here at night and touched on you when he had no business. Trauma is your mama is cussing you out. Trauma is you watched your daddy beat your mama. Or trauma is, you know what I'm saying, something, you had a car accident. You seen a friend get killed. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't see any niggas say, well, what was the trauma? I couldn't express myself. They didn't care about my feelings. I wasn't able to speak freely. Get your goofy behind out of here, man. You know what I'm talking about? Who told you you got free reign to talk to your people any way you want to talk? Who cares what you think? If I want to know what you think, I would have asked you for. But you know why? Because a lot of children in this generation, because they're raised by people who are younger, who had a disdain for authority, rules, and structure, they raise children like that. So then they grow up thinking that anything that doesn't make me feel good about myself or doesn't cater to how I feel in the moment is trauma. You're not traumatized. You're a goofy. Because that's disrespectful. You know how many girls I went to school with, man, that were sexually molested? I'm talking about that I know that have said this in my presence like this happened to me. You know how many dudes I grew up with, man, who people was on crack? Ain't no telling what they seen in their household. You know what I'm talking about? Man, my homeboy mama died on the toilet in his face. You know what I'm saying? They don't get no more. She had a stroke on the toilet in his face. It don't get no more traumatizing than that. That's the last image you got to have of your mama. It's her slumped over on the toilet. That's traumatizing. You know what I'm talking about? You ever seen a nigga die in your face? That's traumatizing. And I ain't talking about saying, you know, somebody older and they passed away, you know, peacefully. I'm talking about seeing a man brains explode, see what lead do to flesh. We seen a man die on his motorcycle bike coming home from school, man, laid out, splatted. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a different type of deal. That's not like, it's so much stuff that black people see in our neighborhoods that we done become accustomed to. And that stuff ain't normal. You know how many of these boys done seen somebody be killed and ain't nobody asked them was they straight? And I ain't talking about grown men. I'm talking about 15, 16, 17-year-old boys. That's not normal. It's not normal to be that acquainted with violence. That's trauma. Not your people didn't allow you to express yourself.
I told you that 13 that got killed. My sister Godson.
That was tough right there.
That's his neighbor down the street. His homeboy got killed. He got shot.
And they messed up. Them little boy, the middle school boy. Boy, 13 years old, who died. The kids in there 11, 10 years old. Now just imagine, them little boys traumatized. They watched their friend die. Even if they didn't get shot, the trauma from getting shot is one thing. They watched their friend die. They thinking, man, we just had practice. We finna go home. Next thing you know, I just watched my friend die in my face. That's going to be with them for the rest of their life. That's never going away. You know what I'm saying? This is the softest, weakest generation of people I ever seen in my entire life, specifically the men. It's disgusting. It's vile. And if I had my choice, I'd go be with the Lord. These niggas make me sick. You know what I'm talking about? Like, these dudes suck. I'm glad I ain't no woman because I wouldn't want to be married to none of these niggas. You know what I'm talking about? Like, straight up now, man, these dudes is on some different type of time. Yeah, like they don't even want to be men. See, y'all be worrying about stuff like this here, right? Oh, they don't want to provide. How they gonna want to provide if their mama raised them and she coddled them all his life? How would you expect him to be a man and he ain't never seen one? You know what I'm talking about? Every bit of his framework of manhood is from the perspective of a woman. How is he gonna know how to do it? See, I always look funny at dudes, like I told you the other day, that don't want to be around men. That's weird to me. Especially if you ain't done nothing in your life. Especially if you did something and there's not a single solitary man that you can think of that had any level of influence on you through your formative years. You know what I'm saying? You ain't had no business mentors that were men, everything a woman. That's weird to me. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that a man gonna know how to operate with men and be a leader of men unless he's around men. You know what I'm saying? Like people like the Lord walked with women, he did, but he was around men. Why? Because he had to train those men to be men to go do what he had to go do. Because guess where he came from? He came from heaven. And guess who he was up there with? His father and a legion of Malachim who were men. Because men have to be with men in order to lead men. Shoot, he got to be with men in order to know what it is to lead a woman. Like, it was funny, right? I was just listening. I asked y'all this here to see how y'all feel about this here, right? The lady was talking, right? I've seen this clip like 5 times. She was like, you know, the woman pull the greatness out of a man. You think you can pull greatness out of a man? Why you don't think you can do that? Because I know a lot of women believe that they can. Now, I'm of the belief there's only one person that can pull greatness out of a man. It's out of because you can control it. That's a weak man. If you come across a man and his greatness is contingent on the woman that he's with, then that means you ain't had you a man in the first place. You had you a little boy. You know what I'm talking about? Because you can't pull that out of him. That's already got to be in him. And Yahuwah got to pull that out of him. Or at least if he ain't in the word, another group of men who are great got to pull that out of him. You know what I'm saying? And I just be mentioning this because my homegirl posted something about men, reason why they can't find a wife, they got access to too many women. I say most of these dudes can't get no women. They can't get no women. Where y'all get this from? He was like, you know, the top tier men. How many men are top tier? How many men are godly? He just said a faithful man, you know what I'm saying, who can find him, right? Say every man declares goodness, but a faithful man who can find him. Man, how many people Solomon said he found after he did a diligent search? How many women did he say he found? How many men did he say he found? So I don't know how these dudes be thinking everybody top tier. He said he did a diligent search. All he found was one person from both genders. That's tough. The book say a virtuous woman is rare, and Solomon just said a faithful man can't even find him. You know what I'm saying? So we dealing on some different type of stuff, and you know what we dealing? The lean into our own selves. But come on and give me this Matthew 13, man. See, a lot of people don't want to see a lot, and you know, and also the reason why I mentioned that too. The reason why a lot of dudes will believe the woman that pulled the greatness out of them is because they're low key or feeding in to the goddess worship concept that is taught in this country. Whereas a man, you wouldn't lean on Yahuwah, you're gonna lean on the mother goddess. But you don't know that that's what they're doing. So I tell you, they do stuff societally to actually affect you spiritually, unbeknownst to you, so that you begin to behave and operate in a way that is contrary to the will of Yahuwah, that you will never ever be subject. It's not gonna do it. It ain't gonna work for you. Come on, man. 13 and 10. And I didn't want you to know, that ain't no disrespect to nobody in the land. Then we live in a society that worships idol gods, that venerates the mother goddess. I just was telling Misha them this here. Y'all remember Happy? You remember Happy? You know how they present you the Baphomet, right? How the Baphomet look? He got breasts, but then he has masculine features also. Yeah, because that's what it is. That's what it is. It's outright confusion. But see, I'm mentioning that because of what? Because they want to bring you what? The oneness of the masculine and feminine, which is what the ancients worship in these other cultures. When Yahuwah wants you to have the oneness with who? Him. So if you're trying to have a balance and the coming together of masculine and feminine, then you're going to do what those mystery school systems did and venerate sexual genitalia versus actually being in service to Yahuwah. Because what did Yahushua promise? You standing there, give me John 17 and 20. Self-work. You sitting at the table. John 17 and 20. Come on, man. No, you trying to be courtside. You Jesus. What you thought?
Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also, which shall believe on me through their word.
Come on, keep on going.
That they all may be one.
That they all may be what?
One.
As
thy Father are in me, and I in thee.
Come on.
That they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me.
Go ahead.
And the esteem which thou hast given me, I have given them.
Go ahead.
That they may be one, even as we are one.
Mm-hmm.
I in them, and they in me.
That's right.
That they may be made perfect in one.
Perfect in what?
In one.
Perfect in what?
In one.
So this is what Yahuwah, the oneness between Elohim and man, which is what he wanted from the beginning in the garden. The oneness between man and Elohim. So what they want to do when they have you lean to this mother goddess and they come with these transgender deities that they worship, and why you see so much, the agendas pushed in these that TV shows that they doing is to influence you subconsciously to where you, on the natural level, are behaving in a way that spiritually will separate you from Yahuwah, that you will never understand how you're supposed to be joined to him. You know what I'm saying? I don't be mentioning y'all this stuff for nothing. What did Paul tell us? You better know the wiles of the devil. You're not ignorant of his devices. You got to know how he get down and how he kick his game. Because he don't kick his game like you think he kick his game. He kick his game to get you to the point to live in a way that will naturally cause your heart to be hardened against the word of Yahuwah so you won't receive it. Because you've been living in a particular fashion and you think this is the way that you're supposed to do things. You know what I'm talking about? And then next thing you know, you hear around here people who have a hatred for Yahuwah and talk down on the word and reject Mashiach. It's the same token we were talking to Misha Auntie and of course Islam. You know what the goofy say about the Lord of Islam, right? He didn't die. He snatched him off the stage. I think I mentioned this, y'all, about a couple months ago. You know why they push that? See, they have to say he didn't die, because if he didn't die, guess what that means he didn't do? That means he didn't raise from the dead. And if he didn't raise from the dead, then him who got power over death still got it, which means your sins ain't remitted, which means you don't have the hope of resurrection. Because remember what Paul wrote, he said some men teach that the resurrection is past, overthrowing the faith of others. Because if Mashiach didn't rise from the dead, then our faith is in vain. And we need to eat, drink, because tomorrow we die. That's why they want to get rid of that. That's why that's why Islam wants to say, no, that didn't happen. You know what I'm talking about? That's why they don't want that to happen. That's why it's not relevant to them. But we know what the Lord said. He said, he that live and believe in me shall never taste death. You believe this? That's what he said. He said, I'm the resurrection and the life. That's what he said. You know what I'm talking about? So he said, I am he that was alive and was dead and lived forevermore. See, if he snatched him off the stake and he didn't die in those elements, then you just say the Lord alive, because that's what he said in Revelation. So who I'm supposed to believe? I'm supposed to believe a Quran that came 700 years after the word, that was actually a prophet of a man who's not even in covenant with Yahuwah. Ishmael, Muhammad is an Ishmaelite. He ain't in covenant with Yahuwah. He ain't got no word. I ain't listening to him. So I'm telling you this stuff so you can know. And I always tell you this stuff so not only so you know what the word's saying, but one thing about the devil, he know his lie. So you better know the word. Because he know his lie real good. How good you know the word. Because if you don't know it, he'll make you look like ice cream to you and you'll eat it. And say it tastes good too. You know what I'm saying? But you know why you'll say it tastes good? Because it's what you desire to do anyway. So all he got to do is make you think that doodle that you want to eat wasn't really that bad. He convince you that, yeah, you should eat it. It ain't that bad. You know it's bad, but you're interested. You know what I'm saying? You're interested. Remember I told you, Satan ain't got no power. The power that he got is what you already want to do. That's why you have to put your flesh to death so you ain't had to want to do it. Then he got no power. But if you still operate in your flesh and you still rule by your desires, then he got power, because all he gonna tempt you with is what it is that you want to do. You know what I'm talking about? See, when he came at the Lord didn't want to do none of that stuff. He was coming at him with anyway, so it didn't matter. That's why he could hit him with that word. Bop, bop. Back up, nigga. What think you talking to? I ain't trying to jump off no building to prove nothing to you. I ain't trying to do nothing. I don't want none of these riches. All this stuff mine. All this stuff mine. You can't offer me what's mine and think I'm gonna worship you about what's mine. Because we was talking about that rich ruler again. And I've been told y'all this before. The rich ruler trying to be slick out the mouth. Hey, good master. The Lord already knows you coming at me, good master. He already know he on some goofy junk. He trying to justify himself. What I got to do to get eternal life? Oh, I've been doing that. What do I lack? Oh, I'll tell you what you lack. Come over here and be perfect, man. Sell everything you got. Come follow me, man. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what he did? He sold everything he had in heaven and came down here as a man to suffer in the flesh. Do what I did, young blood. Oh, no, I can't do that. Because you ain't believe the word for real. See, everybody can talk. See, that's another example of you keep the commandments, but not with a perfect heart. What good is it keeping the law if you ain't got no heart of faith? You're doing it for nothing. See, you can keep the commandments and not have a heart of faith, but you can't have a heart of faith and not keep the commandments. See, that's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got a heart of faith to just live by that faith, you're going to live that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to live that, but you can keep the commandments and not believe a single solitary word. And when your heart get tested, you get exposed. Every king, y'all remember every king we read that he said didn't keep it with a perfect heart. When he tested their heart, them boys fought. Every single solitary time. Come on, man. Proverbs 25. Well, that's right. I'm sorry. We're in Matthew 13 and 10. But you can read Proverbs 25 and 2 in general principle. Then we go to Job 38. But what you gave that boy? That boy amped up. You done gave that boy some popcorn chicken? That ain't right, man. He don't need no fries. No fried. Trying to give the boy damage in his left ventricle. Doctors always talking about he need calories. Ain't nothing wrong with that boy.
That's what they say. They gotta give him whole milk.
That boy doesn't need breast milk.
The whole thing, not 2%.
Nah, he don't need no cow milk. That junk gonna wreck his stomach. Give him some goat milk.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, give him some goat milk, man. Better goat milk than cow milk. It'd be easier on the stomach.
Yeah. It'll be funky.
Right.
Nah, that cow milk get hold to you. It start out good. You think it's good till you get by 8, 9. All of a sudden, goat milk ain't never made nobody guts bubble. Yeah, man, goat milk. Hey, man, I ain't. It is, but shoot, at the price of the doggone cow milk, what's it different?
You get a gallon. The goat milk around those kids.
Yeah, but you getting a gallon of artery hardening.
Half the things always cost a little bit more.
You know that crazy? The stuff that'll keep you alive, you gotta pay for.
And they give you less.
And they give you less of it. The stuff that's gonna kill you, we give you all that. Now, all jokes aside though, and you know, cause I used to only drink milk for cereal. I don't eat cereal that much no more. But you know, anything that the United States government and the Food and Drug Administration push that you should be skeptical. And they tell you get all the cow milk you can get, so you should be skeptical. Anything the United States government say to do, you should. I ain't saying you ain't got to do it. I said be skeptical. That means you might want to investigate why do these people want me to do this so badly? Because I don't trust these people. I don't trust nothing they say. I done told you, if they told me the sky was blue, I'm still going to go outside and make sure it is. You can't lie to me but one time, maybe 2, before I be like, I don't trust nothing you say. I can give you one lie, maybe you were scared. You lie about stuff you ain't got to lie about, or I ain't listening to you. You know what I'm talking about? The worst nigga in the world is a nigga who volunteer lie. You ever met a nigga lie to you and you ain't asking for it? All you want to do is get a beer bottle and bust them up over the head. I ain't even ask. It'd be different if I asked you for the lie. We just sitting here talking. You like, yeah, Mike, I just bought me. I remember I was locked up. Dude said, yeah, boy, I had a Navigator with a see-through engine. I just got up and walked away. I'm not being funny either. Dude really said this stuff. I got up and walked away. I said, really, bro? A see-through engine? That's what he said. You know what was even funnier? The same dude that was telling this lie was, I ain't gonna mention his name, big time dope boy. He out of prison now. He living legal now. He was lying about this man while the man was sitting there. Not only the man was sitting there. Not on some negative. He like, yeah, man, bro, came through on the helicopter, woo, woo, woo. And bro just sitting there looking at him like, he didn't even know that who he was lying about was in his face. I say that because people do the same thing with the word. People just walk up to you and volunteer your lies. And bad doctor, you ain't even asking for it. Huh? Man, that nigga was lying. Because he said he had 2 gold Rottweilers in the back. I'm not making this up. No, he wasn't on drugs. You ain't never been to jail. Specifically prison. This is what dudes like to do in prison. They get a photo album, right, of other people's stuff. And then they make you believe that that's them. And the reason why it's different in prison than in the county, because in the county, you could probably be in there with people who know you. When you go to prison, you around people from all over the state. So it takes somebody coming to the prison you at that actually knows you. You be like, no, that guy's a bum. That's what happens. Niggas be lying. Women be lying. Men, everybody be lying about nothing. Because anybody who done volunteered to lie to you is probably a woman. When I say that, meaning because that would be your friend group. Not because they're a woman, because as a woman, your friend group is probably going to be female. So you're going to have more opportunities for a woman to volunteer to lie to you than a man would, because you wouldn't naturally have a large group of male friends per se, versus female have the opportunity for them to volunteer to lie. See, as men, this is what y'all don't understand. Niggas lie a lot about a lot of things for no reason. A dude will come up to you and lie on his penis that he had sex with a woman. You didn't even ask him. Yeah, boy, I hit that chick last night, boy. Found out he lying. Like, bro, why you came and told me that? Yeah, boy, we hit a lick last night. We were balling out, doing such and such. He's smoking crack the whole time. Yeah, come on, man. Man, you know my homeboy told me today, man. Oh, shoot. So I already know that's all they do in jail tonight. And my homeboy told me today, the Molly these dudes, he said, man, that's crystal meth. I say, what? I say, no, man, I thought that was MDMA. I say, he said, man, bro, he said, man, you was up the road when they was really on the MDMA. He said, now it's crystal, because this is what I know. People on the West Coast, in the Midwest, they've been on it. No. They've been on it. But now people down, oh, I'm on some Molly. You's a meth head, boy. You just ain't lost your teeth. Come on, man. Matthew 13 and 10. I ain't know that, though. Because, I ain't out here. I don't do anything. I don't know what they do, guys. No, we were 25 and 2. I ain't out here no more, so I don't know what they're doing. Matter of fact, we need to finish 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 5. When you disconnected from the street, you ain't out here no more. You don't know, because what it was on the mind. We was on murder. When we putting out the with dude in that dope, he was like, yeah, boy, I've been on coke 25 years. He said, I need that to keep me. Because I be too calm. I need a little edge. He was talking about the dudes on the corner. He said, yeah, these boys ain't like the bases, man. They don't do nothing. They lazy. He said, they on that flock and on that Molly. And I was like, dang, these niggas on bath salts and meth. There was a time period that if you was a black man and you was on bath salts and meth in the South, you would have been ridiculed to no end. See, up north and out west, they use that stuff. But down here, they didn't do that. He do drug addict. That's another reason why I'm glad I ain't no woman. You could be with a man and think he all good. He a junkie. On Percocets, Molly's. Sad out here. Wow. Come on, man. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 5.
Who are kept by the power of Elohim through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed at the last time, wherein you greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, you are in heaviness for manifold temptation.
Listen to him.
At the trial of your faith being much more precious.
The trial of your what?
Of your faith.
Of your what?
Faith.
Of your what?
Faith.
That's why he said he got to try your hearts and your reins. More precious than what?
And the gold that perish, that would be tried with fire, might be found in praise and honor and esteem.
So see, remember what Mashiach said? I counsel you to buy me gold tried in the fire that you might be rich. You're going to have to remember what, give me Matthew chapter 3, man. Come on, then. Give me Matthew chapter 3, verse 8. I seen what you texted me too, Darius. I forgot what I was doing. I didn't hear the text came through, but I read it though. We probably won't get to verse 1 tonight.
Bring forth therefore fruits meet for repentance. And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham, so I say unto you that Elohim is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham.
That's right.
And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the tree. Therefore every tree which bringeth not forth the fruit
is hewn down
and cast to the fire.
Listen to him.
I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance.
But somebody coming.
But he that cometh after me is mightier than I.
And what he baptized him with?
Whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Ruach HaKodesh.
And what?
And with fire.
And with fire. So the trial of your faith is you're gonna have to go through the fire. But notice that he said it'd be for praise and esteem. And what Peter just said. So there's a reason for that. Come on back, Proverbs 25. Proverbs 25 and 2 one more time.
The esteem of Yahuwah to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search out a matter.
Now come on back to Matthew 13 again. Listen to him. We have Romans 16:24 also. You can get that, Little John.
And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speak you unto them in parables?
Why you talk to them in dark sayings?
He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Shamahim.
That's right.
To them it is not given.
It's not given for them to know it. Why?
Whosoever hath to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance.
Go ahead.
Whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away.
That's right.
Therefore speak I to them in parables.
That hearing.
See, they see not.
And hearing.
They hear not. Neither do they understand.
Lest they should understand.
And then is fulfilled the prophecy of
Isaiah.
You say, by hearing you shall hear,
and
shall not understand. And seeing you shall see,
and shall not
conceive.
Lest you should hear with your ears and see with your eyes and understand with your heart, so you could be converted and I should heal you. So what did it mean? They don't believe the word. They don't believe the word. Remember we was looking at the contrast of Isaiah 6 and Isaiah 9 when it was talking about the people being blind and not believing. One was for the teachers, one was for the people. People don't believe the word. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say people don't believe the word, I mean they genuinely don't believe it. They have no batak. Do you remember what batak means, Doris? They have no hope or expectation of reward. See, you can only have a hope and expectation of a reward when you believe what's said to you. If I told you, if when your parents told you, hey, you get A's, I'm gonna give you $20 for every A. You had to believe that they was gonna give you that A, and that's what moved you to do the work. See how to do. You weren't gonna put in that work. Because one, you didn't have respect to the reward. Two, you didn't believe that he was a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So you didn't even believe you were going to get anything, so you wasn't going to do it. See, most people who in the word, man, they doing this stuff, but they don't believe they going to get nothing. I remember when I first got in the word, man, Fat Boy played a video of these dudes talking. He was like, yeah, man, you got to get ready for the famine because he ain't going to feed you like he fed Elijah. And I was fresh in the word and I was offended. And you know why I was offended? Because why wouldn't he do for me what he did for Elijah? What would make Elijah more better than me? If Elijah trusted in Yahuwah that Yahuwah would feed him, I would not trust. Why are you telling me not to trust in God that he would supply what I need in the time of peril? Because every time I read, remember that I read a lot. I read that when there was a famine, he made sure Joseph was straight. When there was a famine, he made sure Abraham was straight. When there was a famine, he made sure Jacob and all the sons of Israel were straight. When there was a famine with Elijah, he made sure Elijah and other righteous men like him were straight. I knew the book said I've never seen the righteous forsaken and begging for bread. So why are you telling me that? I don't believe you. It's a nigga who won't believe the word. Yeah, you open it up. Yeah, you talking about it. You don't believe it though. Because I ain't gonna never tell no man, well, you don't trust, don't wait for God to feed you. I never tell a man that. That goes again, that's blasphemous. You know how many times the book tell you to wait on Yahuwah? Blessed is the man that wait on Yahuwah. Why would I tell a man not to do that? At that point, you saying the man who say that he showed mercy to thousands of them who love him and keep his commandments is a liar and not a keeper of his covenant. Why? If he don't come and feed you in a time of peril, he done broke his own word. You done call Yahuwah a liar. That offended me. Like I understood all of that from me, what I understood at that time, that man saying that. You just call this man a liar. You ever read about a righteous man being forsaken? I ain't never seen it. I ain't never seen it. That don't even make sense for him to do such a thing. Continue in Matthew 13, good sir.
For this people's heart is wax gross.
That's right.
And ears are dull of hearing.
That's right.
And their eyes they have closed, lest at any time
they should hear.
See with their eyes, they hear with their ears. They should understand with their heart, and should be converted.
And I should
heal them.
Come on.
But Baruch your eyes.
Blessed are your eyes, for they what?
They see.
And your ears.
So they hear.
Because many.
For truly I say unto you, many prophets and righteous
have desired
to see what you see.
And have not seen them.
And to hear what you hear.
And have not heard them.
Hear you therefore the parables of the sower.
That's good. You see what he told you? He said, well, it's righteous men in Malachi desire to know what you know and they ain't heard it. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at it, come on to Romans 16 and 24. So the esteem of a man to conceal a word is that the gospel was kept secret from the beginning of time, but now it's his obedience of faith, which he's about to say what I just said, 16 and 24.
Like 13.
No, that was
the grace of our master.
I'm gonna say it like you mean.
The grace. Oh, man. The grace of our master Yahushua Mashiach with you all. Amen. Now to him that is the power to establish you according to my gospel.
According to the good news.
And the preaching of Yahushua Mashiach.
That's right.
According to the revelation of the mystery.
The revelation of what?
The revelation of the mystery.
Which was kept secret since when?
Since the world began.
Since the world was already made.
But now it's made manifest. And by the scriptures of
by the who?
The scriptures of the prophets.
Shalom, Drake. The scriptures of who?
Of the prophets.
So it was, it's the esteem of Elohim to keep secret a word. But now it's made plain according to who? Scriptures of the prophet. Now you can go look in the book. See, I want to explain this too because I told Misha this earlier, just for those of y'all who may not remember. The book of Acts, Michael, is it a scripture? Yes or no? The book of the Acts of the Apostles, is it scripture? Yes or no? Monica, don't hide. No, it ain't your turn yet. Don't hide. Yes or no? Why do you say no? I guess you need to leave. Monica, the epistle of Paul to Timothy, is that scriptures? Yes or no?
I would say
yes. Yes, but why would you say that? It's the Bible. Johnny, the book of Revelation, is it scriptures? Yes or no?
Yes.
And why would you say that?
This is Yahushua.
Poor answer. The epistle to the Romans said, is it scriptures? Yes or no? Yeah. And why would you say that? Clearly, I haven't told y'all this in a while. I need to repeat it. That's why I mentioned it. Genesis to Matthew, Mark, they're books. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Scriptures. Because what is it? It's the book of Matthew. It's the book of Mark. It's the book of Luke. The Acts of the Apostles is not scriptures. It's the Acts of the Apostles. It's a written testimony of what they did. Every epistle letter is just that, a letter. They're not scriptures. It's not the book of Paul to Timothy. It's the epistle to Timothy. The reason why I mentioned it is the book of Revelation is scripture because Yahuwah is speaking in it. You know what I'm talking about? As far as Mashiach is concerned. Now, why is this important with the epistle letters? The epistle letters are Paul's writings to individuals or congregations about the things that he taught them in the word. So that means every epistle letter must be validated by Genesis to Malachi. See, they're not scriptures on their own. They're just letters. Because you write a letter and it's in this book does not mean that that's scripture. Because that means that's not Yahuwah talking. That's Paul talking. Now, because Paul has the Ruach HaKodesh, he's speaking according to the word. Let's not get that twisted. He's speaking according to the word. Now, see, Little Muffin should have known. Because I told her this from the time she got in the word. What I done told y'all, everything in the New Testament, what you got to be able to do with it. Validated in the Old. Now, this is something that I was explaining, right? Y'all remember when we went through the book of Proverbs? Do you remember why we went through the book of Proverbs? Because we should be able to go in the book of Proverbs and see Yahushua's entire life, death, resurrection, and ascension into heaven, and never go into any other book. And that means that we can justify Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John just from the book of Proverbs alone, no other book. That means we also, remember we went through Psalms to do the same thing. That means we could prove that Yahushua, the Son of God, and see that everything that's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is validated in Psalms and not go in any other book. See, we can't go into the epistle to Timothy, the epistle to Peter, the epistle of James, the epistle to the Romans and the Corinthians and do that. Why? Because they're saying what we were doing in Psalms. That's what they're telling these people. You know what I'm saying? Even when we looked at, right, he said, you kept the traditions as you've been given. We looked at that. What was that? That was precepts. So what is he telling them to keep the precepts? It doesn't go into great detail that he taught them what's in Leviticus and he taught them what's in Deuteronomy. Why would he write all? They already know that. That doesn't mean that the letters aren't valid. They're not scriptures. And it's common that most people who in the word call those letters scriptures and they're not. It doesn't invalidate them. They're just what? Letters. For something to be a scripture, it has to be a book. You know what I'm talking about? A book that was inspired by Yahuwah. Not remember, Paul's an apostle, so Paul's over congregations. So he has to straighten out whatever issues that they got going on. So remember, he got to remember what Peter wrote. Well, we didn't read it. In 2 Peter 3, and then we've been talking about what he said. He said, I had to stir up your what? By way of remembrance. That means I got to bring back to remembrance what I taught you in his word. Like even what we started, because we talk about 2 Peter in 2 Peter 3, he will quote the script to them. He quoted Psalms 90 to him. He quoted Exodus 34 to him. He quoted Isaiah 51 to him. But he didn't say Isaiah 51 says this. But they know the word, so when they would have read that letter, they would have known exactly what he was talking about. But you see how I just mentioned that he referenced 3 scriptures, and unless you know the book, you ain't gonna know that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that Paul wrote that people mess up with because they don't know Genesis to Malachi, so they don't even know when he talking book. Because it's not, when you got the word in you, it's not Genesis chapter 5, verse 16. That's not how that happens. It flows out of you. You don't have to quote no book, chapter, and verse. Because he that is of Elohim gonna do what? Hear Elohim's words. My sheep hear my voice. So if the word is in you, the word is going to come out, and those who are of the word will hear the word. You know what I'm talking about? So it's not you they hearing, it's him they hearing. That's why I say he that received you receive me. And whosoever received me, receive him that sent me, because all that individual going to be saying is what the book say. You know what I'm talking about? And when you deal with a lot of people, you know one thing they don't like? For an individual that's going to deal strictly with what the book say. You know what I'm saying? Because the book say what it say. And guess what? One thing that Yahuwah don't care if you agree with it. You know what I'm talking about? He don't care because he said what he said. You know what a lot of people be wanting Yahuwah to do? Remember what I told y'all the other week? Don't they teach men to compromise what they want? Well, they want people who represent Yahuwah to do that with Yahuwah, for him to compromise what he wants. And what does Yahuwah want? Faith and obedience. So people want you to compromise both in order to make themselves feel comfortable. And that's why Paul wrote, he said, man, if I was a servant of men, if I please men, then I wouldn't be a servant of a Mashiach. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to please men. See, what if somebody says, because Yahushua spoke with Paul and John, that make it scriptures? How do you deal with that? Because a lot of people think that. I just would tell them that they're just grossly incorrect. You know what I'm saying? An epistle letter is not a scripture, because when Paul wrote that letter, he's not writing, Yahushua's not talking to him while he's writing, because then at that point he would say, thus saith the Lord, thus saith Yahuwah. That's what we put in there. They would be talking. You know what I'm talking about? But he's writing a letter that is inspired by the word. So when you know Genesis to John, you're going to be able to look at what these men said. Oh, he got this from here. That's why he said that. Remember when we can read about when he said, hey, man, if you're going to interpret, he said, if you're going to speak in tongues, let there be an interpreter. See, we can go to Genesis with Joseph and his brothers, and we can see where he got that from and why he said that. We can go to Isaiah 28 when he said, hey, I'm going to speak to these people in another tongue. We can see, okay, this is why he's saying that to this congregation in Corinth. You know what I'm saying? This is where he got that from. He just didn't make this up. When he said, okay, let the woman learn in silence, well, where did he get this from? He got that from the beginning with Adam and Eve. Who you think taught Eve? You know what I'm saying? We had this conversation with a dude. I said, dude, how you think Eve got the word? Oh, because she was already in Adam. I said, man, go in the bathroom, cut out the light, look in the mirror, and slap yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Because who else would teach Eve when the book tell you that the man teach everybody in the house? Because remember, Eve recited the word back to the serpent. You know what I'm talking about? How she gonna hear a word and she ain't created because she is real? That don't even make common sense. You have to actually be a sentient being who can hear and understand. Faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the what? So how she gonna hear the word if she wasn't here? Who did he get a word to? Adam. So who you think gonna give it to her? Oh, no, it's not nothing that you gonna read specifically that say that. It's you knowing the order of Yahuwah. Because we can read in Genesis 3, she knew the word. You know what I'm talking about? But what is Adam? Adam is the first prophet. He's the first apostle. He's the first shepherd. He's the first all of that. Of course, he taught his wife. Why do we know that? Because he said that Israel would go many days without a teaching priest. Because remember, we know that Adam and Eve is symbolic of us and him. Who taught us? We got the word from him. You know what I'm talking about? So we know that Eve got it from him. And just like Eve disobeyed, guess what we did? So we ended up in the same boat. You know what I'm talking about? Looking for life, wondering how we gonna get it. Gonna have to look to the giver of life, but we don't like to look to him. Come on, man. That's good in Proverbs 25. I don't need no more. Because I already talked about the search out of matter. He told you, search the scriptures, the enemy think you have eternal life when he resurrected from the dead. He taught him everything was about him. Job 38:1. Hey, what you doing, cuz? Well, at least you ain't like your god sister, because your god sister like to go in them cabinets and fondle and fiddle. Shoot, boy, Joanne know how to work. She go straight to him. Job 38:1. And Yahuwah answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who this that darken counsel by words without knowledge? We talked about that Wednesday, so we don't prove that. Gird up now your loins like a man, for I will demand of you and answer you me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have an understanding. Come on, give me Proverbs 30:1, Johnny. And then Civic, come over here to Psalm 104. Let me see what I want. Let's see if it's anything good. Yeah, give me Psalms 104:1, man. Come on with that. Proverbs 30:1. What you talking about? Well, you walking with confidence now.
The words of Agar, the son of Jephtha, even the prophecy, the man spake unto Ethial, even unto Ethial and Ukal.
Mm-hmm.
Surely I, more brutish than any man, and have not the understanding of a man.
You know what brutish mean, right? Foolish, stupid. Go ahead.
I neither learn wisdom nor have the knowledge of the holy, who have ascended up into heaven.
Listen, he said, I've never learned wisdom and I don't have the knowledge of that which is Kadesh. Do you know what it says in Proverbs 9:13? Read it for him, Sid. It might be 9 and 10. Tell him 9 and 10.
The fear of Yahuwah, the beginning of wisdom.
That's right.
And the knowledge of the Kadash, understanding.
Knowledge of the what?
Kadash.
So he said he didn't have the knowledge of Kadash. So guess what that means? He didn't have understanding. And what did Mashiach do? He gave them the knowledge of the Kadash because the matter that was concealed, he searched it out so they could get understanding. And he that have understanding is going to have a wellspring of life. But when you lack understanding, that's what you worthy of. That's why the gospel is important. That's why the testimony. See, a lot of brothers back in the days, they thought, oh, you just doing that to flex your knowledge. See, you thought I was a goofy like you. See, I was explaining this to Misha earlier. Boom. You good. You tough. You know what I'm saying? Niggas hit tables every day, B. Nah, man, you only cry because you looked at your dad. Check this out, right? Y'all remember what it says in Psalm 50? He said, who are you to take my covenant in your mouth? Seeing you cast my words behind your back. He said, you slander your mother's son, and you altogether thought I was like you. He said, but now I'm going to reprove you and set you in order. See, there's a lot of people, man, when they come in the word, they think you a goofy like them. They don't really think that you holding on to the. Let me tell you something, man. You know, most people really be thinking that people be on the same type of time that they be on. You know how many people be walking around here trying to take this man covenant in their mouth, and they cast his words right behind him. I ain't listening to. I ain't studying none of that what he talking about. I just want to talk about it. So when they come across people, they think you on the same type of time. Man, you know how many of these goofy niggas done came around here and they thought I would like them? No, I ain't like you, cuz. I'm 100 with mine. You phony, you faking, you flaw. And you mad I ain't a buster like you. I ain't got nothing to do with your personal problem. I ain't finna be, hey man, you gotta remain sucker free. See, man, once you go in the lane of being a buster and a sucker, you can't come back. But we were talking about that earlier. I don't know nothing about this rap dude, but clearly this has got everybody in uproar. I never heard of this guy till he got arrested. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who Gunna is. I ain't never heard a song. Don't want to hear a song. Don't care to hear a song. But they were talking about, oh man, he told. But then they say, oh, this man was in a Crime Stopper video when he was 12. But he always been like that. But see, it's only it was. Yeah, they say he was in a Crime Stopper thing when he was 12. You know what I'm saying? But we were talking about, you know how they say T.I. done came out and say he told on his dead cousin. You know, you told on somebody. I'm a 5-time convicted felon myself. I know full well you ain't get caught with all them guns and you ain't tell on somebody. Yeah, he was on Crime Stopper. You know what I'm talking about? But it was funny because I would tell the Jimmy man, well, Boosie was like, man, you messed up the legacy. This is the legacy we want to be known for as a criminal degenerate. You know what I'm talking about? But I kept it real. I ain't telling nobody. Don't get me wrong. If that's the life you live, go to jail. You know what I'm talking about? You get caught, go to jail. That's the life you live. That's what you chose, go to jail. Because that's the rules I lived by when I was out there, man. I get caught. If I got caught with some work, that ain't got nothing to do with civic. What I'm calling telling the police, well, that civic killed about 2-3 niggas. Johnny got some bricks at his house. I went to jail. So me going to jail ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm gonna go ahead and take that lick because that's the consequence of what I chose to do. I definitely talked with a young man this week, and you know what the young man told me? I said, life is about choices. He said, no, it's not. It's too restrictive. Why can't we just be free? I said, you ain't learned that from your dad. Your daddy ain't tell you. I said, your daddy ain't telling you that. But guess what, though? You know how many people out here who really think like that? Who don't want to be responsible for the choices that they make? Oh, I ain't talking about Young Thug. I'm talking about his homeboy. I don't know nothing about Young Thug music. I only know about him because of people posting pictures of him wearing a dress. And allegedly, they put in court today of him doing some degenerate things with a man. And they was like, oh, man, why they do him like that? They shamed him. They ain't have to play that. They should have played it. They should have played it. God said ain't nothing secret that ain't going to be put on the housetop. Now you upset. He embarrassed himself. How you gonna put yourself on video participating in sodomy with a dude? Yeah, that's what they put. I put it in the chat. That just happened to pop up on my time, and we actually seen the court proceedings. They really played it in open court. But guess what? What I would tell them how stupid black people is. You make tens of millions of dollars, and you feel like you need to prove that you a gangster or still participate in gangster activity. Let me tell you something real. If I got that type of money, you tell me, yeah, bro, we need to flood the hood with some drugs. I'm calling the police on you. And I say, you need to come get him because he's stupid. He want me to risk my money and my freedom. Well, sir, we can't arrest him because he ain't did nothing yet. You need to arrest him for being stupid, for asking me to do this. Because I'm not doing it. I'm telling you. But seriously though, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, our people is the only group of people that think it's cool to be a degenerate and to actually achieve some type of wealth or success and still have to act. I got to keep it real with the hood. The hood don't owe you nothing, and I don't owe them nothing. I'm not throwing my life away to say I kept it real. Boosie like, man, he shouldn't have told. Man, that boy wasn't no gangster. And y'all know he wasn't no gangster. He just was a gangster on TV. And y'all be right to see, y'all be listening to the dude music. I'm a gangster in the car. You a goofy like him. But it's okay because you just entertain him. Because he a goofy like him. You be in the car thinking you a soul certified thug. You be playing Pop Smoke and 5 of your friends, you think you right back in Brooklyn. Lies. Lies. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I ain't know who Pop Smoke was till he was dead. I don't know what he was. I didn't go back and check him out. I'll tell you that. I mean, I'm disconnected. You know what I'm saying? I say, Lil Durk, I'm like, who is this nigga? I say, this nigga sucks. Not for real. I ain't listening to this music. I don't know if he sucks or not. I'm lying. You know what I'm saying? I just understand. Come on back over here, man. Give me Psalms 104. Hold on, he ain't finished Proverbs 30. But I just say that, man, don't be a degenerate. See, Look at him now. See the reason why I mentioned that is Young Thug done did this boy walking naked in my house.
I'm not sure.
You just want the boy out here flashing his headlights. All jokes aside, right? Listen to him, right? You deal with black people, right? Now he wants somebody to feel sorry for him because you've been out here selling drugs, killing people. Now you want me to feel sorry for you because you arrested. No, sir, you're a criminal. Go to jail and stay there. Better jail than hell. Maybe you can repent and save your soul in jail if the Lord see fit. Better jail than hell. Because that's how a lot of people feel. Dude said, where's the compassion for Brittany Griner? I ain't got nothing for her. She's an abomination. You should want people to get out of jail. Why should have? Maybe you who wanted her in jail. Who am I to mess with? But I'm not finna jump up and down and be excited that a bullbagger got freed from jail. For the devil's oil. She ain't had a devil's letter. She had the devil's oil. I'm talking about. For real, you know, black folks act like these folks, yeah, they freed her. It's for a bulldagger. She's a carpet muncher. Don't you know the book say that justice is an abomination to the unjust and the unjust an abomination to the just? I find you reprehensible. Now, I'm not sitting around here laying around because I hope that bulldagger get. I ain't thinking about you like that, but I ain't finna be jumping up and down doing backflips because you got out of jail. Every nigga get out of jail every day. But then, like I said, I started to feel like Chris Rock. Where my OJ prize at? I ain't getting nothing when that nigga got out of jail. When I don't care. But that's because I'm not pro-black. I'm pro-Yahuwah. So I'm not moved by this because these are sinners. What I'm jumping up and down for a sinner for? They let Brittany Griner out so she can come back out here and promote more young girls to be a lesbian. Come on, man. You got to be. Ooh, boy, our people, we don't love God. Come on, Proverbs 31. What verse 4? Verse 4.
Who have ascended up unto Shamahim, or descended? Who have gathered the wind in his fist? Who have bound the waters in the garment?
So who done went up to heaven to know what go on up there? You know what went on up there? Because Proverbs 8 and 22 say, Yahuwah possessed me from the beginning of his what? No, you don't know. You need to get it then. Proverbs 8 and 22, you slacking on your Mac, you slipping on your pimple. But that boy slap a taste out your mouth.
Yahuwah possessed me in the beginning of his way.
He did what?
In the beginning of his way, he possessed me.
What'd he say?
Before his works of old.
Before his what?
His works of old.
Go ahead.
I was set up from everlasting.
He was set up from when?
Everlasting.
From when?
From everlasting.
Everlasting is olam, right? Do your time. I look at it like this here. The people in the neighborhood, they're civilians. They're upstanding citizens. If you want to, you're not snitching. You're reporting a crime. Like, I couldn't be mad if the next door neighbor seen me shoot somebody and then they called the police and say, I seen him shoot him. They're not a criminal. So they're not bound to the rules of criminality. What ends up happening is that the criminals oppress and intimidate the civilians to not tell on them so they can continue to proliferate their criminality. But as a criminal, I'm not telling on somebody else because I went to jail. No, I'm not doing that. You know why? Because I signed up for something that I could go to jail for. So if I get caught, I got to wear that. I'm going to do my time and I'm going to maintain my honor because that's the rules of the game that I chose to participate in. So when it comes to the word, it's the same token. I'm going to maintain my honor because I understand the rules of what it is that I chose to participate in. See, that's just what being a man. When you become a man, you understand whatever you put your and the rules of whatever it is that you say you participating in, you live by that, you stand on that, and if need be, you'll lose your life behind that, not to break that. Do you know what I'm saying? See, that's the hallmark of what dudes don't understand what it is. You can't get out here and commit crimes and then cry about going to jail. The whole 5 years I was in prison almost, you know what I told them, boy? I said, man, this was an occupational hazard. Prison is an occupational hazard of selling cocaine. I knew the minute I told that, I knew the minute y'all have mercy on his soul, I went to Blue House with that last check from Dairy Queen and say, call that nigga and bring me 4 rocks. I knew right then I can go to jail. I made a conscious decision that I'm going to throw rocks at the chain gang. So if I get caught, I'm going to do that time. You know what I'm talking about? Because I'm a man. I knew what I was doing. I remember these dudes got caught up on a big case in the city, man, and he was telling me he told, he got upset because I went off on him. I say, but bro, when you was having sex with all them women and riding in them Escalades and smoking that weed and doing this here, you knew what came with this. Oh, but they telling on me. I don't care though. Ain't you a man? Ain't you a man of honor? So you gonna dishonor yourself because somebody else dishonored themselves when you knew what you was doing? You knew what you was doing. You knew what came with it. Don't do that time, bro. Go do them 20. Go do them 15. Because you was willing to benefit on what you was doing. But now when the consequences come, you don't want no part of it. I can't respect you as a man. You're not a man. You know what I'm talking about? If you gonna benefit off of something and then it has negativity attached to it, then you got to be willing to take that negativity that come along with it. If not, don't do it. You know what I'm talking about? So when I look at the word and I know the word say, hey, if you trust in your own righteousness and go commit sin, all that righteousness you did beforehand, I ain't gonna remember it. I gotta respect that. I got to respect it. You know what I'm saying? Because you telling me, hey man, if this is what you want, and you rock it like this, then rock like that. If you're not gonna rock like this, I'm gonna part your scalp. I gotta respect it. I can't even get upset when he come with the part with the part scalp. I gotta take it. That's about being a man. It's still no different. You say, hey man, I want to own my own business. You know full well I could fail at any time. And I could lose everything I got. And I'm man enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? See, that's the reality that people don't want to take. See, some people say, oh, you did it could fail in the first year. Shoot, it could fail in year 10. Circuit City was around for a long time. You don't see him no more. Radio Shack was around for a long time. You don't see him no more. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that was in business for, you don't even know about Woolworths. People plenty of them. You don't even know what it is. You know what I'm talking about? Gone. Because that's just how the game goes. See, the issue is not if it goes, but can you adjust and adapt? You know what I'm saying? But you knew that's what the cost of the game was when you got in it. But see, what did the Lord tell you in Luke 14? What people don't do? They don't count the cost if they got sufficient enough to pay. See, a lot of people, when they come to Yahuwah and you got to take up your stake and follow him, a lot of people don't sit down and count the cost. You're willing to pay that price. A lot of people are not willing to pay the price. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they don't make it. Because you just want to do something. You ain't really sit down and say, hey, this what go along with that. I can do it. Remember what he told his apostles? He said, man, you can drink from that cup. You know what they told him, Doris? We're able. When he asked him, can you be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with and drink from the cup that I drink from? He said, we able. He said, bet. He said, but I can't give you that. He said, that's my father's choice. But he said, bet when they told him that. Because you got to sit down and look in the mirror. And I ain't even being funny or slap yourself. You got to go and look in the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes. Ask yourself, do I got what it, am I willing to take what it takes? You know what I'm saying? And that ain't just a word, that's with anything in life. If you want to be great at something, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say you willing to pay the cost to do it. Most people ain't because you're lazy. You want stuff handed to you. You want it easy. You don't want to go through the bumps. You don't want to go through the bruise. You know what a lot of people get caught up in? They don't want to go through the process. But guess what? The process is where everything is at. Man, I remember when I was hustling, man, like I told, like I put it on the computer at the house. I could forecast in my brain, like, okay, Monday I need to bring 20 dollars. Tuesday I bring 25. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to have too many, and I didn't want to have not enough. Because when I left from down there, I didn't want to have no dope. You know what I'm saying? And I was accurate all the time. And the chick I was fooling with at the time, she thought it was weird. Because I'm like, because it's the process that got me to the point that I could even forecast in my mind how many to bring. You know what I'm saying? To get to that point, like, okay, I know I should make X amount every week. You know what I'm saying? Even looking at last month, right? I made like 3,000 less than what I did last November. You know what I'm talking about? But it's still the process of boom, because it's the process. It's so different with the word. You sitting back looking at it, I just want to stop sinning. I want the spirit. I want this here. You ain't focused on the process. You know what I'm saying? And you focus on the process, then when you actually get to what it is that you're trying to get, then you will be able to appreciate what you achieved because you went through the process. When you look at Mashiach for them 2.5 years, he was already the Son of God. He made himself a man that made himself lesser, but went through the process to take back what was already his to show you how to go through the process, because even into the process, the joy of God is still there. Why? Because the faith of God is still there. And where's trust in Yahuwah is what? Everlasting strength. And the joy of Yahuwah is your strength to allow you to continue through the process. But we don't, remember he say everybody who entered into the kingdom of heaven must go through what? Much tribulation. We don't want the process. You want the reward at the end. That means you ain't worthy of the reward, because when persecution and tribulation come, you're going to be offended and you're going to quit. Because there wasn't no root in you. You understand? So you have to have love for the process. See, everybody just want to do stuff and they want the end results. I told you before, I didn't want to make $1 million. Not to say I got $1 million, but to actually, that's something I had made up in my mind as a youth. Like, I want to be able to say that I either in one fiscal year, in one 12-month period, I earned $1 million. You know what I'm talking about? But in order to do that, you would have to understand the process to get to that. That then when you actually get it, then you would actually look at all the things you learned in the process to actually achieve it. And guess what? That's where wisdom comes in at. That's when you're able to give somebody some wisdom. That's why people who ain't never been through nothing can't tell nobody nothing. And when I say that, meaning you got people who've been through stuff, Shalom, Sister Kelly, and don't even pay attention to what they went through. Just big dummies, just out here floating through life. I'm just here. You ain't learning nothing. You ain't understanding nothing. That's why you can't listen to a man who don't do nothing. Because what is he going to tell you in the course of the conversation? He ain't got nothing going on. I ain't listening to no dude sit at the house scratching his balls waiting on his old lady to bring him something. Because she the one pay all the bills. You's a bum. I'm not listening to you. I ain't listening to no man who ain't even been around men on a regular basis. I'm not listening to you. Ain't nothing you can tell me. You ain't got no real dudes who was around your granddaddy, your daddy, your uncles, your cousins, no homeboys in the neighborhood that was older to you, that took some liking to you and looked at you and said, come here, young man, let me put you up on some game. You ain't had no business mentors, no nothing. You know how that tough, you know how much that means to a young man when an older man take interest in his life and pull him to the side and say, let me teach you what I know, young man. And you telling me as a man, ain't nobody did that for you? I'm not listening to you, bro. I'm good. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear nothing you got to say because you ain't got no framework of manhood to speak from. So I'm straight on that. No disrespect. I don't want to listen to you. Would you want to listen to a woman who was around nothing but dudes? You ever been around a woman who's been around nothing but dudes? She ain't a woman. She's very aggressive, hard. You know, you live in a city, a bunch of chicks be around a bunch of dudes. You know, New York City women different. They're real aggressive, loud, obnoxious, disrespectful. I ain't saying that to be funny, but it's the environment that they come up in. They round dudes all the time. You know what I'm saying? So if you a woman who wants to be a woman, you can't listen to her. She ain't been around enough woman to give you no framework of what a woman is. What am I listening to her for? All she can tell me how to do is smoke Newports and cut people on the train. You rolling your eyes because you know some chicks who smoke Newports and cut people on the train. I do. And I ain't even being funny. I do know somebody who used to smoke Newports and cut people. And she from New York.
I do know somebody.
Man, you know the most vile thing to see in your life is a woman go in her purse and pull out a pack of cigarettes and light it. She could be the most beautiful woman in the world. Then you like, ugh, you smoke cigarettes? I'm talking about, I was like that before the world. I could deal with a beer. I'm still skeptical depending on what type of beer it was when I was young. But if she went in her purse and pulled out a pack, back in Miles, we might have used to even turned our head when we were young. Maybe even a blunt. I ain't want no woman to smoke beer. But a pack of cigarettes, a lady. I wouldn't like the Temptations. I ain't like no cigarette when you smoke. No, man. That was unattractive to me, man. You know what I'm saying? A beautiful lady smoking cigarettes. Come on, man. It's bad enough I smoke. We in the house just smelling like ashtrays. I'm straight on that. I'm straight on that. I ain't saying it's good that I smoke, but it's just certain things that when you think of a lady, that you just don't expect a lady to do. You know what I'm saying? I already knew if a chick's black and mild, she wasn't no lady. Her voice gonna be harsh, it's deep. She's smoking that's cigar tobacco. You around here talking about she freaking a black and mild, popping that ain't no lady. Ladies don't do that. Oh, you was smoking black and mild? She said lighter. She was smoking black and mild.
That's what my dad used to do.
Psalm 104. Blame it on your dad. Blame it on your daddy. Absolutely. Darius say through many wars, there are plenty of lessons that David had to teach his offspring from his experiences. Absolutely. It's always necessary for a man to go. You know, they would always, in most cultures, the young men would go with their daddy for them to get the experiences that they would need to lead their families later. It's important. Like, it's not just something like, oh, women, like, it's important. He needs that because this is what a lot of people forget. Your son ain't just your son. That's somebody's husband and daddy. He may be a little boy right now, but that's going to be somebody's, not only somebody's husband and daddy, he's going to be a leader of men one day, possibly. So he needs that type of instruction in order to navigate his community properly so that he can be in value of the people around him. See, a man, if he around men, he going to be taught, one of the first things he going to be taught is that he needs to be valuable to the people in his community, meaning the people in his immediate surroundings. He needs to be useful to these people. He needs to be able to benefit these people through his own ingenuity, ambition, intelligence, vision, discipline, order, structure, and hustle. You know what I'm talking about? And that doesn't mean that he necessarily got to start a business, but he know I have to be a benefit to those around me so that if possible, their lives are better because I was in it. See, if you ain't been around men, you don't even learn that because your mama not going to teach you that. You know what I'm talking about? And that's not her fault. You know why? Because you don't have to do that. That's not your responsibility. But if you got men, I ain't talking about somebody who has a penis. I'm talking about a man with a man's mind. He gonna teach his son, you got to benefit your brothers and sisters. You got to benefit. When I say brother, I ain't talking about your actual siblings. You got to be a benefit to your people. But son, before you can be a benefit to your people, that's who you got to be a benefit to first. Yourself. You know what I'm saying? Once you can be a benefit to yourself, then you can go out and be a benefit to others so that their lives are better for knowing you. You know what I'm saying? See, that's the legacy of a man. What he built and his effect on the people around him. Are their lives better for knowing you? Did they glean some information that they took to make themselves better that they could take back to the people that they know? You know what I'm saying? See, that's what I was taught as a jit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were taught them because you up north, so you know they talking about that each one teach one. That's what I was taught. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was taught. Like, look here, young man, you get this info, you learn it, you master it, you teach it to another man so he can teach it to another man, so he can teach it to another man. And this is how you grow a network of strong men who can do things together. That's what my big homie told me, man. You know what I'm saying? So she say, Sister Kelly, she said the Indian men at their job take their sons back to India for 30 days to be with other men. See, we the only culture don't do this. Remember I told you all the other night? We the only culture of men that say I need a woman to build with. We don't even think I need to go build with other men so that through building with other men, I can go benefit my woman and my children. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you get a power base and a structure is finding strong men to build with. When you look at Mashiach, who he went and got, the strongest 12 men he could get, minus one. You know what I'm saying? And that you know who that one is. Who that is. You know. But it's to build. See, we live in a time now that you think that that's an exclusion to women. It ain't got nothing to do with them. If you're going to build the base of a community that has power, then men have to get with men to build with men. Because you know who you're competing against? Men. You're competing against white men. You're competing against Arab men. You're competing against Asian men. You're competing against East Indian men. And what do all those men and all those communities do? They sit down with each other and they build together. I'm telling you this because I done seen it firsthand. You know it. All the people that we know in real estate, them men sit down and build together. And guess what I know the black brothers do? They sit back and you know what they try to do? Sit back and build together and bring all the brothers in to do this, that, and the third so that they can have a power base. One man can't have power by himself. He has to have a conglomerate of men who are in that same space in order to have power. That's how you know these dudes weren't raised by no men because they want to be dolo. You know what I'm talking about? Any man who's been raised by men know better than that. You're going to go get with strong men in order to do something to be a benefit to everybody. You know what I'm saying? But we don't think like that, man. And we backwards, man. You know what I'm saying? She said when the son turned 8 years old, that's when they did it. This is just to build a power base. We don't think like that because we don't have a ruling class mentality. See, we want the kingdom to come so bad, you couldn't rule a kingdom. Because you don't think like a ruler. You think like a servant. Aries mentioned this the other day. When you're thinking about equality, that means you ain't ready to rule. Because there's no equality in rulership. Somebody rules, somebody submits. That's how that works throughout all human history. There's no such thing as equality. Nobody has a rule over a land and everybody's equal. That's asinine. That's American talk. Guess what? They taught you that and they've never done it. Because you think these white that don't benefit, so they're not going to do it. See, if you want power, guess what you got to do, Michael? You got to take it. And guess what the Lord coming to do? Take it. He going to take it. He ain't asking. That's what he do talking about, y'all, you done it. He talking about writing a petition. How you God and you talking about you writing a petition? Give me my land back. Get your goofy behind out of here, boy. God don't write no petition. He ain't asking nobody. He taking. I'm going to ask somebody for what's mine. I'm going to take what's mine by blood if necessary. Come on, man. Psalm 104. These dudes crazy out here. One of them Yaju people tried to get in the clubhouse house. You know what I did? Denied. You won't come in here. I ain't playing no game with that, bro. You won't come in here. I don't entertain none of that. You won't come in here with that nonsense. I bet you won't. I bet you won't. I wish I would. If I let him in here, I ain't Anthony Robertson. Tell you that. Come on, man.
Baruch Yahuwah, O my soul, Yahuwah my Elohim, you are very great. You are clothed with honor and
Clothed with who?
Honor and majesty.
That's that Ruach. Just know. Come on.
Who covered with light as a garment, who stretched out Shamahim like a curtain.
He stretched out what?
Shamahim like a curtain.
Like what?
Curtain. Who laid the beams of his chambers in the water.
And laid the beams of his chambers what?
The waters.
Now give him beams and chambers. Then we just read in 2 Peter 3 that the earth was in water and out of water at the same time. Because remember, he brought the earth out of water and then you got the water of the firmament, right? Okay. Give him beams. What's that word, man?
Karal, to encounter, meet, befall, happen.
So he calls to happen. What's chambers?
Roof room, roof chamber.
So what's on the roof? That's a room, that upper room, if you would.
That's a figuratively, it's the sky, the upper chamber.
The upper chamber. And what is the upper chamber in normally? That's a house. So what did he call? He said he laid out the heavens like a house. Now give me John 14 and 1 and listen to that. Because what's coming down from Shamahim?
Yeah.
New Jerusalem. Ain't that what coming down? And it's got a chamber. Now John 14 and 1, listen to it.
Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in Elohim, believe also in me.
That's right.
In my father's house are many mansions.
And my father's house is what?
Many mansions.
What he go to do?
If it were not so, I would have told you.
I go
to prepare a place for you.
So if this father's house is many mansions, he already told you his house is New Jerusalem. He said he stretched that out in Shamahim like a what? Like a curtain, didn't he? Come on back to Psalm 104. Because remember, right, this for those of y'all who don't know, we're dealing with 3 elements of creation. We're dealing with the original creation. We're dealing that when Mashiach came, died and rose from the dead, that he recreated creation. We're dealing with that when Mashiach returns, he's going to recreate creation. And then when the new heaven and new earth come in, that's again the creation, just like you've seen in Genesis chapter 1. And who is the one creating all of these things, save the last? But Yahusha. Because Misha Auntie asked me that earlier. She was like, so who's Jesus? Is he a prophet? I said, he God. She said, how can he be God if he were born of a woman? I said, that's easy to answer. Indeed. You know what I'm saying? So, but I say, who does the book say made the world? God, Allah. I say the book said that in the beginning was the word was with Elohim, and the word was Elohim, and all things were made by him and for him. And it said in the beginning, Elohim made the heavens and the earth. And the book said that, and John said that Yahusha did that. So guess what that tell us? That Yahusha is who? Yahuwah. That's what that tell us. So we know he made everything. We still got stuff in Proverbs 8, by the way. We're going to get to it. Come on, man. Give me that Psalm 104.
Who laid the beams of the chambers in the waters, who made the clouds his chariot.
Make the clouds his what?
His chariot.
What he said he coming back on? On the cloud. So right, he said he going to ride on clouds. Remember we were talking about in Matthew 26? So if you're riding on clouds, that means he riding on the heavens. Go ahead.
Who walk upon the wings of the wind, who make his Malachim spirits, his ministers of flaming fire, laid the foundations of the earth.
He laid the what?
Foundations of the earth.
What else?
Should not be removed forever.
So they should not be what?
Removed.
So remember what we talk about in Isaiah 45, what he said he made the earth to be inhabited. He didn't make it in vain. That's why he's making a new one. And why is he making a new one? Because everything in this earth right here will not be remembered. Why are we going to come into a kingdom where our Father dwells and we remember in pain, suffering, and abominations and sin? What's the purpose of remembering that for? When we're supposed to be dwelling in joy, peace, and righteousness for eternity. What you want to be thinking about the day somebody got robbed? The day you seen somebody get killed? The kingdom of heaven has no place for that. That's a place of eternity. We ain't thinking about that. Don't make sense to do it. Come on back to Proverbs 8 and 10 and where you stop that, good sir.
I was in 23. I was giving you the definition of everlasting.
Yeah, it's Olam. Right?
I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning.
From the when?
From the beginning.
Remember, the lamb was slain from when?
Okay.
Didn't he say, Abba, give me the esteem that I had with you before the what? The world was. Go ahead.
Forever the earth was. No depths. I was brought forth.
Well, there was no what?
Depths.
Give him depths by definition.
What? That's to whom, that's deep, depths, deep places, abyss, the deep.
The grave. Go ahead.
I was brought forth when there was no fountains abounding with waters.
So when there was no Ruach, I was there.
Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was, I brought forth.
I was there.
While as yet he had not made the earth nor the fields nor the highest part of the dust of the world.
I was there.
When he prepared the Shamahim, I was there.
I was there.
When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. When he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep.
I was there.
When he gave to the sea his decree.
See, a lot of people say it's wisdom. Let's say that's wisdom. Well, guess what? Paul told you in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 30, man, that Mashiach was made unto his wisdom. So go get in the bed. Go ahead. The whole book is about the Lord. And ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And ain't nobody going to be like, I think somebody asked me the other day, he was like, so you exegesis? I said, I don't know what none of that means, bro. I'm just a preacher. You know what I'm saying? From zone 3. I don't know nothing about none of that. All I know is, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It's written to me. And that I know. You know what I'm saying? I tell brothers a lot. I don't know a lot of things. But one thing I do know is that Yahushua, the son of the living Elohim, and the whole book bear witness of his esteem and honor. And all those that must be saved will believe it and obey him. That I do know. You know what I'm talking about? And you can talk to your butthole catch fire. You can make your mouth fry fish. I'm not declining on that. You know what I'm talking about? I stand on that wholeheartedly. And I say that to any man, I don't care how much of a, because that's what a dude say, I'm a scholar. I ain't no scholar. I told you I'd be feeling like Avon Barksdale, you know what I'm saying? You know, I ain't no, suit wearing scholar like you. I suppose I'm just a gangster. and I want my corners. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just a preacher, man. That's it. I ain't nothing other than that. I'm gonna tell you what the book say, and the Lord gonna be esteemed because we gonna preach it. You know what I'm talking about? And if you don't like it, eat doodle and die, as far as I'm concerned, because that's what you're gonna do. It's gonna be some weeping and gnashing of teeth. You don't believe this man's word. You know how many people open up this book and they don't believe this man? Yeah, they don't believe this man. They don't believe in this man. Just because you talk about, I believe in Jesus, I believe in Yahweh, I believe in Yeshua. That don't mean nothing to me. Everybody say that. A lot of us grew up singing a song. I didn't, but some of y'all might have did. You know what I'm saying? Jesus loves me, and I believe it because the Bible told me so. You ain't even read it. And I ain't saying that to be funny. Like, you say stuff, you ain't even read it. You don't even know why you like it. You know what I used to ask people back in the day, man? I say, man, why you believe he resurrected from the dead? Why you believe that? Okay, that's what they told me. But why you believe that? You don't even know where that's in the text for you to believe that. You just believe. You know what I'm saying? But when Yahushua rose from the dead, didn't it say the disciples didn't even know the script say that he had to resurrect from the dead? Then he taught it to them. So they knew why. Like I said, this is not a blind faith, brothers and sisters. This is not a blind faith. That's not what faith means in Hebrew. It's not blind. You just don't know what you're doing. That means when you're dealing with blind faith, you're dealing with a man who really don't care nothing about you. Because Yahuwah going to tell you, he's going to tell you, now you may not know the end result, but he's going to tell you, hey, I need you to do this. When he told Abraham, leave from his kindred, what he told him after that? I'm going to make you a great nation. I'm going to bless you. And all the families in the earth going to be blessed because of you. Whoever cursed you going to be cursed. He let him know, I'm telling you to slide, but this is why I'm telling you to slide. Because this is what I'm going to do for you now. This is what I'm going to do for you. That's not blind, because I'm telling you what I'm going to give you for rocking with me. Now, you may not know what you're going to encounter until you receive that, but it just ain't, just come, leave where you leave, just believe in me. What?
Earl Nightingale, they talking about ship captain. You go into the port, you can't see the port, but the port is on the other side.
Right.
99% of your journey, you don't see the port, but you know it's there.
You know it's there. You've been told where you're going. You've been told how to get. This man told you how to get to his kingdom. He done told. That's why people kill me. God work in mysterious ways. No, he don't. He tell you exactly what he gonna do before he do it. Then the Lord say, I tell you these things before they happen, so when they happen, you know that I am he. He told you that. He gonna tell you what's gonna happen before it happens. So when it happens, you know he God. He just ain't gonna have you out here chancing. Was it Jesus? Was it the Lord? Or was it me? No. He gonna tell you what time it is. He gonna tell you what time it is. He gonna tell you what time it is. That man don't operate. Men don't operate like that. Just trust me because I said trust me. He put your forefathers in the wilderness. He laid out why they should rock. Did he not send Moses and Aaron to show them signs and wonders why they should rock with him? He just ain't tell Moses, go tell them people, I'm who follow me. He said, nah, man, I want you to go out there to them. I want you to show you. I want you to drop a little bit of word on them. You know what I'm saying? And then tell them this and tell them that. Didn't he tell them everything he was going to do to Pharaoh before they came up out of there? So when he did it, they would know that was Yahuwah. I need to believe on him. You know what? And this is the crazy part, right? You know what our people's biggest problem is? And I done told y'all this for years. We wanted to be fantastic. We wanted to be some great thing, but it's really simple. And you know the story. You know who I'm going to mention. Who I'm going to mention? Naaman the Syrian. He told Naaman the Syrian, just go get in the Jordan 7 times, man, your leprosy be gone. He was mad. And Elisha if I would have told you some great thing, you would have been quick to do it. But just because I told you to go wash in the Jordan, you mad because you thought who ain't no sucker like that. He just got to put on a show to entertain you. Man, go wash yourself in the Jordan, man, be clean and you'll be good. Why it can't be like this? Because that's what you want. That's not what I do. How did the Lord heal the blind man? The man picked up clay and spit on it, put it on his face. You know what I'm saying? He could have said, how did I do all that there? And you would have, all he did was just pick up some nerve. You good. What about when the dude came to him? He said, man, my daughter dying of a fever, man, I don't know what to do. He said, man, let it be done according to your faith. You know how simple that is? He put it on him. Man, I'll do it, but I'm going to do it by how much you believe that I actually can do it. And what did that man say? He said, Lord, help me with my unbelief. I know you can do it, but I don't believe you can do it. And he was humble enough to say, please help me, Lord. I'm stupid. Because at the end of the day, that's what he's saying. Meaning, what is stupid? I know the truth, but I still want to believe the lie. I know you can do it, but my flesh telling me you can't. You know what I'm saying? He said, please, Lord, help me with my unbelief. See, that's different. We want stuff to be fantastic. Come on, man. The woman with the issue of blood, all she did was grab the bottom of his clothes. She was good. He said, man, I felt virtue come up out of me. That's all she did. She just grabbed his clothes. Nothing fantastic. Nothing. Nobody around knew what happened. Only him and her. Remember when Elijah got that little boy from the dead? You know what he went and did? Oh, what was that, Elisha? All Elisha did was just lay on the boy. Just laid on him. See, we want stuff to be fan. You want God to put on a show. You want Yahuwah to put on a show. And you want a show to put on. You got Netflix and Hulu for that. It's only one day when the Lord gonna put on a show, and you don't want to be a part of that show. That's it. You don't want to be a part of that show. I only say that because what we want him to do, he don't do that. He's simple. Not simple as forth as unintelligent, but it's simplicity. Like Paul stated, don't let nobody corrupt you from the simplicity that's in Mashiach. You don't got to do all of that. He ain't got to do all of that. Because we already know why he ain't got to do all that. Because who are signs and wonders for? Oh, y'all don't forget. Unbelievers. So a believer don't need, because Naaman's supposed to believe it. We got the word. We don't need all that. So that's why the centurion said, hey, stop, Lord. You ain't even got to come to the house. I'm a man under authority. Dude, I tell a man to go and he go. All you got to do is speak the word and it's done. That's what I was saying. Whoa, hold on. This white boy right here, I ain't never seen none of you niggas believe like this white boy right here. And all of them should have been a change. Because you got somebody who ain't never been a part of the covenant, ain't born from the seed that you born from, and he looked at the Lord and said, stop. Don't go no further. Just say it. I know it's done. I ain't got to be there. I ain't got to see it because I understand. See, Bruce, they'll miss the whole point of that. You understand how serious a faith that is, that a man can know, I came looking for you. You tell him your problem, and when he go to say, let me go help you out on that, you like, no. You ain't got to do all of that. Just speak it. I know you're going to do it. If I was the Lord, I would have been amazed too. Like, what? Nah, sit back and pause for a moment. Let that marinate in your brain. How serious that is. That when you came up on the man that can help you, and he coming to come help you, and you tell him, oh, no, I'm not even worthy for you to step through my door. You don't even got to go that far. I know how much power you got. Your word is sufficient. See, that's the difference between that Roman centurion and most people in these days and time. He believed on the word. He knew all he had to do was speak a word and it was done. See, we be wanting all this extra stuff because you don't believe the word. You don't believe the word. Abraham didn't need no signs to leave. Noah didn't need no signs to build no ark. He said, build it, and it would build. We don't want to have that conversation. That makes people feel uncomfortable. See, it ain't that simple. It is that simple. You believe it or you don't. Ain't no magic formula. Ain't nothing we got to do. You believe it? Yeah. Okay, then. So do X, Y, Z. See, Sister Slid, right? You know, this woman told me, Hebrew dude told her if he told her to walk naked like Isaiah had to, she had to do it. I said, well, that nigga that evil as hell. I said, Yahuwah told Isaiah to walk naked. What type of man would want his wife to be exposed in the eyesight of other men? Who would want that? I seen dudes the other day, they was like, yeah, I don't want no virgin. I want a woman who's been experienced. You was a goofy. You was a goofy. So you like this here, you'd rather have a woman who no man done touch because you feel like, and you know the shaming language they like to use, you insecure. that you won't be able to measure up against the men she doesn't have sex with. Why, as a man, would I be thinking about that? You know what I'm saying? But it's just a funny thing that people say. Why would I be thinking about that? Would I be able to measure up to the men she been with?
Everybody's been there.
That means you might be homosexual, because that means you thinking about other men's bodies. You visualizing. What's wrong with you? You laughing. For real, because I don't know how they would come to your mind that when I wonder if I'm better than her last man. You got dudes be asking women, is their penis bigger than me? And she, why you thinking about that? That's right, they is gay. And when I say gay, not gay as a homosexual, but gay as lame. Because in our neighborhood, we be like, man, that's gay. We talking about that was lame. You know what I'm saying? That's what we you can't cancel me. You know the only people who can be canceled when you dependent on other people to make your money. You can't cancel me. Who gonna cancel me? I ain't famous. What are you gonna do? Cancel my YouTube page? I'll make another one. How you gonna know I made it? We gonna make a different email. People do it all the time.
People in this congregation, you got enough emails to go through.
I got plenty. Shoot, Gmail is free. You know what I'm saying? All jokes aside, though, like, yeah, and it's like this here, because I know I know also too, this was talking to a lady about this. I know some women, they don't like when they hear men say virgins because they know that they're automatically eliminated because they feel bad about the decisions and choices that they done made while they're not virgins. And the only reason why men want virgins is this is not a woman who's been imprinted by another man. Like, I know one of my homegirls I went to school with, she just posted, now this ain't the father of none of her 5 children, of a man who she loved who's dead and been dead for like 5-6 years. You are imprinted by a dead man. So a man who's alive has to compete with the imprint and the attachment emotionally that you have to somebody who's dead. Don't nobody want to deal with that. You still walking around here talking about your first love, and I done told you this before, and that's when a man come to reality to understand you weren't her first choice. You know what I'm talking about? So you want to convince yourself of that because you know you ladies like your rom-coms and all these love stories and be like this. But we know that's not the case because you got your first choice a long time ago. Because 99.9% of the time, your first choice was the first man you laid down and had sex with. You know what I'm talking about? That's the first man who you wanted to be with. That's the man you were inclined to give your body to. So if I come meet you 5-10 years later, I can't lie to myself and say I was her first choice. You done been with other men before you met me. And really what it boils down to, dudes be talking about body count, it really just boils down to like how BOA put it, man. There's no body count, man. It's either 0. After that, what does it matter? You know what I'm talking about? The only difference when you've been with a lot of men, you ain't gonna be able to pair bond. You know what I'm talking about? Like I say, and I won't necessarily say you got spirits in you, but you got too many emotional and physical attachments to other people. You know what I'm saying? You got too many of them. You're not gonna be able to get with a man and say, I'm with him. It's difficult. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why it's difficult is because y'all are receivers. See, a man can jump up and down in a multitude of women, and he may not have that happen to him until he meets a woman who he likes her sex. And then he becomes emotionally attached, and then she drags him. That's when you hear about players getting their heart broken. They ended up getting emotionally attached to a woman who had some vagina that he didn't want another man to have. That's what happens. When you see dudes crying and going crazy about a woman, it's her boy, like JT Money said, it was so good that you wanted it forever. You didn't want nobody else to have it. So now you're going crazy. But with y'all, there has to be usually, unless you're just a complete and utter scallywag, some type of emotional connection between you and that man for you to have sex with. You know what I'm saying? In general, with most women just ain't like, oh, give him some. Oh, I'm gonna give him some. That's what these young women are doing now. You know, but usually there has to be some type of emotional attachment. And when you have sex with this man often enough, you become attached to him. You know what I'm saying? Then the man comes, now you have to break that attachment, and then you doing it with another man. Now you do that and you're doing it with another man. It's going to be difficult for you to be somebody's wife. It's just being honest. That's the reality of life. That doesn't make a woman horrible. That makes her, maybe we should start teaching our daughters to be more judicious with their body so they don't do that, so they don't put themselves in that type of position, have that type of mental and emotional anguish from being attached to multiple sexual partners. Well, they be like, well, what about the men? Look here, man. People do what they want to do. Ain't no man making these young girls pop their booty everywhere. That's what they want to do. Because guess what? The only way a man can have sex with you outside of you want to do it is if he's a degenerate murderer. Now, why did I say he's a degenerate murderer? Because any man who rapes a woman according to the book of Yahuwah, he is a murderer and ought to be put to death. So that's the only way a man should be having sex with you and you didn't want to do it. So that means if you had sex with dudes, it's because that's what you wanted to do. You know what I'm talking about? And we don't want to deal with that. Because we know most of these dudes want to have sex all the time. These dudes don't care who they have sex with. See, you know one thing I know women won't do? A woman ain't paying no crackhead man to have sex with her. Dudes pay crackheads to have sex with them. You know how I know this? Because I've seen it. And a lot of dudes used to ask me, well, I know you done trick with a base. No. Every dope boy done did that. No. Are you lying? No, sir. There's a lot of things I want to do in life, and having sex with a crackhead wasn't one of them. You know what I'm talking about? And I done been around a few that were somewhat attractive. But that's just a no for me. But you know, when you some dudes, boy, they go to hustling, boy, that's just a lot of dudes, that's when they got their first piece of sex, was from a crackhead. See, y'all don't know that. See, I know that. Ain't none of you ladies finna go find those, like they say, yeah, I'm out here hustling. Look at that man over there coming to buy that 40. Don't even keep your money. Come over here and trick with me. That don't happen. It don't. How many women you see running around here breaking their necks to pay for a man to have sex with them? Dudes spending their light bill money to do it. They turn going hungry because they out here trick. You seen hard. That man called his wife and said, baby, I ain't coming. Man, there's no woman doing that, man. Now y'all ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that dudes do for sex that y'all not gonna do. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna do it. That's how I know it's different. Y'all like to do it, but y'all don't like to do it as much as dudes like to do it. Because there's certain things that y'all not gonna do. And tricking with a crackhead is one. I'm telling you, y'all think it's a game. Like literally, you run across anybody who sells drugs, the likelihood that he put his genitalia on a crackhead's genitalia is very high. But y'all don't be caring. He's a drug dealer. He's a gangster. So you got to be careful. A lot of them boys who done been to prison, they've been dumpster diving. You better watch them. Come on, man, with this Proverbs 8. It ain't no game now. He say he think dudes don't want that responsibility of dealing with a virgin because she gonna be needed guided in other things outside of sex. You know, and that'd be the main part too, because a lot of dudes aren't man enough to take a woman and guide her and lead her to be the type of woman that's gonna be beneficial to the life that he's building. Because they ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? They ain't doing nothing. But that's a different time, man. That's not a knock on a woman, man. Of course, we know most of the women out here ain't virgins. We live in a godless society. You don't fear God in America. You know what I'm saying? Where it's at? You see it? Shoot, they don't even. I was telling the brother this other day, man, and I told y'all this before. You take a look at it, right? If Mr. Charlie tell you cheat on your taxes, what's gonna happen to you, Mike? You going to jail. Niggas scared of them PPP loans for them people coming to get them, man. Mr. Charlie say don't speed and you don't speed. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Charlie, if Mr. Charlie said it was a what you call it? A curfew. And everybody had to be at the house at 11 o'clock. Niggas in the house at 10:30. And ain't going outside. Y'all done been in cities and seen cities where they had curfew where nobody outside. Mr. Charlie said, go in the house. Mr. Charlie said, go in the house. And guess where everybody at? In the house. Guess what? Mr. Charlie say, shut your businesses down for COVID and niggas closed. And guess what you did? Stay at home. You telling other people to stay at home because Mr. Charlie said stay at home. Ain't that what you did? Mr. Charlie said put on a mask and you looking at people funny because they ain't have one on. Now I'm getting somewhere with that. I'm trying to think of some more stuff, right? Mr. Charlie say, if you don't get no car insurance, I'm gonna suspend your license. You go get it. Now, Mr. Charlie done said all these things, and you got all this respect for Mr. Charlie. Yahuwah say, keep my word and don't sin against me. See, I don't know nothing about that. So that means you got more respect for the white man than you do for Yahuwah. So guess what that means the white man is to you? That's your God. Because you reverence him. Because you fear his word. And you fear his wrath. And you desire his reward. See, that's sad. That you got more respect for flesh and blood than you do for the Father, all spirits who life emanate from. That's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. Niggas scared of the police. People say their heart drop when the police lights come on. They can see the Lord right now. They probably wouldn't even be scared. I done look at people, they look at me crazy. Like, man, they go to police. I don't care. Scared of no damn police. What you gonna do to me? That's a man just like me. And they can smell the contempt coming off me when they walk on the door. Man, I'm not scared of you, cuz. Care nothing about that pistol on your hip or that badge on your chest. I ain't gonna disrespect you because the Lord said not to do that. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm not scared of you. And I need to let him know that I do not fear you. Like people say, teach our sons to be scared. I'm not teaching my son to be scared of no police. Teach my son to be scared of another man for. Especially a white man. And with the history that our people got with these people over here, I teach my son to be scared of no white man. You fear Yahuwah, boy. What did he say, man? I fear Yahuwah. I don't care what no man gonna do to me. I'm not scared of you. No, that's right. That's what Sister said. What Deuteronomy 28 say? Heart be faint. That's how you know the word true. You don't hear no other race of people talking about their hearts skip a beat when they see the police. Walking around here, ain't no other race of people over here scared of the police. I ain't scared of the police. I wasn't scared of the police before the word. Damn about no police. My daddy was a police officer. You know what he told me? He said, man, they more scared of you than you is of them. He told me that when I was a little boy. I seen it too. I could see the fear. But I understood why. He got a wife and kids too. He don't know what you got on your mind. He want to go home. You know what I'm saying? But nah, he was telling me that my daddy was a police officer for 25 years. He told me, well, they scared now. He just didn't explain to me why they were scared. But when I got older, I knew if you got a wife and 3 kids at home, you want to go home too. For $50,000 a year in some benefits. Maybe some overtime, depending on what you do. I don't know. Some of these police officers down here make a little bit more money. But I want to go home. I want to see my wife. You know what I'm saying? But get what though? None of us want to go home and see the Lord. I'm just telling you, how you scared of a man more than you scared of your God? It don't make sense to me. Oh, she said if you didn't get the vaccine, you couldn't go to restaurants, movie theaters, or anything in the town. See, they didn't do that down here. See, we live in Florida. Boy, they don't care. Yeah, we don't care. You know what I'm talking about? And you know what? And you know why we didn't care? Because we had a white Spanish man, whatever he is, who didn't care either. Niggas didn't like Ron DeSantis. I say Ron DeSantis is a real one. Boy, that boy say shut down for what? Shut down for what? You know when I used to talk to our people who live in other states, they be like, y'all doing what? Hey, no, man. Niggas having block parties out this. Yeah, they talking about y'all shut the beach down. Beach shut down. Is you crazy? Y'all gonna die down there. Guess what happened? Ain't nobody died. Man, I'm be honest with you. Stuff closed. They went to killing. They were like, the police ain't coming. This city different, man. Proverbs 8, but Florida different, man. They ain't shutting up. See, up north, y'all deal with a different type of Mr. Charlie. See, the down south Mr. Charlie, they don't care.
Charlie Baker said, no, I'm shut down.
He said, Charlie Baker shut down. He said, I gotta go. He said, he said, instead of fleeing north like they did back in the days, he flees south.
You don't get vaccinated, you gonna lose your job.
I quit. You won't shoot that. Whatever the boys were saying, you gonna shoot them nanobites in me. I said, well, these boys crazy. Come on, man. Proverbs chapter 8, these boys crazy out here, man. Tavon fleed south, then he said he had to go back up north. He was missing the cold. That nigga crazy is all I know, man. That nigga nipples hard right now. The hair standing up on the back of his neck. You know what I'm talking about? That boy cold. Guess what? It's warm outside. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what happened when it get cold. Everything get hard. You know what I'm talking about? Your ears get hard. All the hair like this in, you don't like it. Y'all got different type of air up north. Now the Midwest air, we felt that was different. I was like this here, boy. I was glad to be up there with my people. Now I love all of them. I said, but boy, I'm ready to go home. It's 80 degrees. I was looking at the weather on my phone every day. Right up. I said, boy, don't get me wrong. I said, man, I was thinking the other day. I said, man, shoot, boy, I'd rather. I said, boy, y'all boy need to come down here with us, man. I'm talking about because it was love. Now I say, Day to go, you come on. East, you come on. Try, you come on. But they got their families up there. I understand. Y'all need to come down here with us because I don't like it up there. It's cold. We had to wear too many clothes. I ain't never wore a jacket and a hoodie at the same time ever in my life. I did that for the first time at 42 years old. I ain't never had an and a scully. It's too much. It's too much. I only own one jacket. I had to buy a hoodie for the trip and a scully. I don't own that.
I had to do the same.
And nigga talking about, would you ever move from Florida? For what? For what? If I move, I'm only going to one place, and that's Jerusalem. I leave the state of Florida, it must be time to go see the Lord. Because, boy, I'm not moving to any other state in the United States under no circumstance. Nigga, I've never paid state income tax in my life. It's December, and it was 80 degrees. Come on, man. What I'm leaving for? Leaving for what? I would go to LA, but it costs too much. That's the only place I would go. And then I don't want to be there. They gang, man. They kill niggas for nothing. I don't want to be there neither. I can't wear my hats. I'm going to have the wrong hat and get shot. For real, I got an Astros hat. I put that Astros hat on in the wrong neighborhood. They going to think I'm a Hoover. They going to shoot me. I got a Seattle Mariners hat. I put that on. They going to think I'm a rolling 60. Somebody going to shoot me. I don't want to deal through all that. I got to be careful what hat I'm wearing. I got too many hats. I don't want to deal with that. Do you understand how serious that is? Then up there in New York, it stank. Y'all rude. And y'all kill people for nothing, too.
It is some good food.
I don't care how good the food is. It ain't good enough to live there. And it's expensive. Nah, man. She talking about that's the best part, dressing up. Yeah, that's what a nigga who been in the cold all their life like to say.
You like wintertime.
Yeah, I know it sounds good. Till you out there and it's 10 degrees, but you dress nice.
Good leather.
You good leather, but your face froze. Meanwhile, I'm down here outside with a tank top on my front porch. I'll take that for $200. I'm dressed up nice, but I'm cold. I don't want to go outside. I gotta have my heat on hell. Do you know them niggas had their heat on hell up there? No, it wasn't cold in the house. But I'm talking about, I ain't going to Texas. The weather, it get cold there too. Ain't enough beaches. You got to live in old Huckleberry Finn town to get some water. I'm good. And Texas getting expensive now. Dallas and Houston, because everybody who go to Texas want to go to Dallas, Houston, or San Antonio. Maybe Austin. So nobody want to go to Port Arthur, Texas. That's the only cities we know. Bigger Texas is, we only know about folks who wants to move to Lubbock, Texas. You don't even know where that's at, dude. That's where Texas Tech play. I don't want to be there. No, all those sides, Dallas and Houston is expensive, especially Houston. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Darius was talking about, because we said that when we walked in Crow's house, like, boy, the heat is on hell in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga. And they got all their stuff on like it wasn't bothering them. Sir, I'm sweating indoors. This ain't supposed to be happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight on that. No, I'm good, man. Florida is okay with me. I ain't moving to Miami or Orlando. Jacksonville works well for me. We can visit anywhere. I ain't living nowhere. Yeah, Muffin say San Antonio. I'm good. San Antonio ain't nothing but a Walmart version of Jacksonville. So I'm straight. Yeah, we better than them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm good. No, I ain't nothing wrong with them play, but I don't want to live there. Come on, Proverbs 8. I don't want to live there. What version? Come on.
When he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he gave to the sea his decree that the water should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the
Notice that he said, and it's a verse in Jeremiah that say that, and we'll get to it. Don't you know that you see the waters don't go past where he said they're supposed to go? You know how the white people be talking about erosion? The beaches eroding. The beaches ain't never gonna erode. Them beaches always gonna be there because the water gonna stop when you who would tell it to stop. Come on.
Then I was by him, one brought up, and I was daily delight, rejoicing always before him.
He was his daily delight doing what?
Rejoicing.
Look here, Chris talking about we can wear Uggs and dress nice. Well, damn Uggs. I wear slides and my feet warm.
You may get away with that.
You see, I wore boots. Man, look here, man. Trav told me one day, man, he went to work, man. He came home, he had a thaw at his feet. I said, boy, I would have moved, boy. I ain't being funny. I said, you had a thaw. He said, yeah, boy, it was like -2. I'd have moved, boy. I ain't living nowhere where it get -2 before wind chills. I'm not living in that. I'm gonna be looking at my people like, why did you move here? -2? Oh, that's ridiculous.
Fun time.
You say fun times.
That's sarcasm. Niggas walk to school, man.
I ain't walking nowhere because I'm running away from home. I'm catching a midnight train to Georgia. From up there. Come on, man. I'm not adapting to nothing. I'm gone.
This girl, she from Bronx, but she had moved to Alaska because her husband was in the military. And they gave me 2 choices, Hawaii or Alaska, and she chose Alaska. And they've been there for years.
He's stupid for letting her make that decision. Because we going to Hawaii.
She said she don't want to deal with volcanoes.
I don't care what she want to deal with. We going to Hawaii. If I got a choice of Alaska and Hawaii, nigga, why are we having this conversation? Nigga, I'm going to Waikiki and I'm good. And if you want to go to Alaska, you can go.
It's gonna be cold and play with bears.
Yeah. The pictures be nice though.
It's nicer than Hawaii. What person in the history of mankind has ever chosen Alaska over Hawaii?
Well, they got that time period where the sun don't even show. Like dark days.
For a couple extra bucks. Man, I'd have looked.
That's funny. She used to live in Hawaii. Her husband is also in the military. She said she hated it.
It is expensive.
She said she hated it.
What did she hate about
it? She mentioned like the items at the grocery store, you can't find it there and it's highly expensive. And the weather is not as nice as they portray it on TV.
And what does she mean by that?
Rain.
I think like polluted and yeah, probably because of the volcanoes.
Probably because it's an island and it's the middle of just probably, and all them other places ain't like what you think it is. They catch a lot of rain because they're in the middle of the ocean. I'll take Hawaii. I'm not going anywhere where a nigga can ice fish. Michael Glover said he in New Mexico.
You know, in Alaska, certain times in the year, it's dark.
Yeah, I know.
Get dark like 60 days.
I'm straight. Come on, I'm good. I need to be warm all the time. Tropical people, just like her, say, let the Europeans have that madness. Yeah, you don't know that movie, do you, Michael? You don't watch black people movies. Depart from me. You ain't never seen Menace to Society? Come on, man, read, man. What type of woman you trying to marry?
Rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth and my delights with the sons of men.
He said he rejoiced where?
In the habitable.
Give him habitable by definition. Oh, I'm glad my granddaddy fled and they found him.
That's Abel, that is world.
So he dwells in the habitable parts of the where?
The earth.
Of the earth. Delighting with who?
Sons of men.
Why do y'all think that's important? Because when Yahushua got ready to be killed, he went up and he sung a hymn with the sons of Adam, delighting with them in the what part of the earth? The habitable parts. And what did habitable define to again? Because I forgot. Huh?
It's world.
World in the earth with man. So what does that tell you? Because it said that he possessed him in the beginning of his way. I mean, Elohim came and dwelt with man and rejoiced among them. And I'm going to take it a step further. Little Johnny, give me Psalm 40. That nigga said, Glover, when you going to slide back home? That nigga said, most likely never. Boy, may the Lord make your tires bust. That boy, that crazy. He laughed with it. That's why I threw that dope. That boy, that's stupid. Doug at least say disrespectful. You gonna talk like that? That man gonna make another truck catch fire. You gonna be to the high. That nigga Michael Glover said most likely never. What about the churn? That nigga Little Mike waiting for you. What? What about that? Come on, man. Why you always? He gonna look at you just like her. Why you always on the road? Nah, he said he just finishing that out last week. He being routed back now. She talking about up north, we get shade. That was the other thing too in Detroit. Them niggas ain't had no sunlight. It was gloomy. I said, that's why y'all niggas be killing each other.
It's great.
They don't want to live like that. I said, bro, I'm not used to this. Man, we come home, it's sunshine. Even when it's cold, it's bright. It's life. You niggas dead. I don't want to be in death. Nigga got no sunlight. Nigga just sad. That's why y'all on drugs. Y'all sad. All the people in Florida be happy. Smiling. Y'all want to talk about people down south just nice. Look at the sky. Y'all around here, y'all cool. That is gloomy and gray, upset. That's why y'all be mad all the time. Y'all come down south, you be like, why y'all so happy? They smiling all the time. Look how beautiful it is. The birds chirp. You can hear them. You can see the sky. New York ain't got nothing but small. Y'all niggas around here just been in hell and fart and smoke all the days of your life.
Grass.
Look at Michael. You ain't lying.
No, because you know, the friend from Baltimore, so she stayed downtown, and she was just like, where are all the people? She was like, so traffic is nothing. I'm like, well, people don't stay downtown. Like,
no.
People you see that's here, that's it. I'm like, you want to stay in traffic, man.
Ain't that something you come down here, you want to see some traffic. And we be complaining about our traffic. Our traffic is not bad. You know why I drive?
At DC, they came down, they drive slow. You know, we is going to say
They don't drive slow. They drive aggressive. Niggas cuss you out. When we went to DC, dude flipped me off, cussed me out, going across the crosswalk, and the light, you can't even go.
When I went to Detroit, I thought I was driving too slow. Them niggas was zooming past me. I'm like,
Well, I couldn't even tell. But I know this here, though. It stank up there. It's bad. You niggas got bad air. Y'all like this video my barber sent me with a dude farted in his grandma's oxygen tank. That's what it's like. He really did that. I'm like, what? If that was my grandma, we should have beat him up. I'm gonna show it to you when I get finished. That's our boyfriend. Come on.
Psalms 40.
Psalms 40 and 1.
I waited patiently for Yahuwah, and he inclined unto me.
That's right.
And heard my cry.
Mm-hmm.
He brought me up also out of a horrible pit.
Out of the grave.
Out of the miry clay.
Mm-hmm.
And set my feet upon a rock.
Set his feet upon a what?
A rock.
We talked about that rock Wednesday.
Established my goings.
Mm-hmm.
And he had put a new song in my mouth.
He put a new what?
Song in my mouth.
So you know when it's a new song, what does that mean? That's a parable. It's prophetic. Anytime you see a song, it's prophetic. Go ahead.
Praise unto our Elohim. Many shall see and fear.
That's right.
And shall trust in Yahuwah.
Trust in who?
In Yahuwah.
You better.
Bless that man that make Yahuwah his trust.
That's right.
And respect not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lie.
That's right.
Many, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to us war. They cannot be reckoned. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee.
You gotta get you ready, man. You want to do public speaking? You gotta talk. You talk about that.
I'm trying to really understand. You gotta take time.
Oh, I understand. You trying to do dual work. Come on.
I will declare and speak of them. They are more. They are more than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offerings thou dost not desire. My ears have thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offerings have thou not required.
That's right.
Then said I,
Lo,
I come in the volume of the book.
Is what?
It is written
that I might.
I delight to do thy will.
He delight to do what?
I delight to do thy will.
That's right.
O my Elohim.
That's right.
Yea, thy laws within my heart.
Come on.
I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips.
You notice he said he preached righteousness in the great what? Because he like to dwell in the habitable parts of the earth with the who? Sons of who? Come on.
I have not refrained my lips.
I ain't stopped talking.
O Yahuwah, thou knowest.
You know.
I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart.
You didn't do what?
Hid thy righteousness.
You see how he say it's an esteem to conceal a matter, but it's a great thing for kings to do what? Search it out. But we don't do nothing in secret. We're gonna say it in the open. Come on.
I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not concealed thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation.
That's right. So that means he preached the gospel to the people that because at the end of the day, we talked about this before. The tree of knowledge and good and evil is the law. The tree of life is faith. The tree of knowledge and good and evil or the law work wrath. The love and kindness and salvation is not contained in the law, because if it was, then there would be no need for Mashiach to offer himself. So the salvation and love and kindness, because he said, Elohim so loved the world that he did what? He gave his only begotten son that you might not perish. Continue, good sir.
Withhold not thou thy tender mercies.
That's good. That's enough context. I'm going back to Proverbs 8. I told you with this creation thing, it's going to take a while. And I'm not going to rush and speed through it. Because all the things we talking about right now is just coming from where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth. He said, declare it if you have understanding. So it's only one. We're looking at the person who declared it. It's Mashiach declaring it. We already referenced John 1 when he said in the beginning with the word. Paul wrote in Colossians, all things were made by him and for him, and that he might have preeminence. And then, of course, in Revelation, Yahushua said himself that he's the beginning of the creation of Elohim in Revelation 3 and 14. You know what I'm talking about? And we know that Revelation states that the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world. You know what I'm talking about? So he was there from the get-go and from the beginning, and he is the creator of all things. Like, there's so many spots where you can look at, because like I say, when the lady say, how is he God? Well, we already talked about, right? He say he the first and the last in Isaiah, and then Yahushua turn around and say he the first and the last. So how is that possible? You know, that came to my mind the other day. Y'all know the verse, right? When he say, you know, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Do y'all recall what that means? And if you don't, it's okay. You recall you over there looking like a Jewish lady with them two girls, like a Jewish man with that top hat. Oh, you told her that too? Mazel tov. I do. I'm talking about you got two curls just like them. And you know what they call them Jewish men call them curls? They have the nerve and audacity to call them locks. They do. But remember, right, the first shall be last. Well, who are the first? The first is everybody that come before Mashiach. Remember what Hebrews 11 wrote? That those that came before us didn't come with us, but weren't left behind so they could be made perfect. And the last shall be first, because those of you who come in the latter time, in the gospel of Mashiach, you actually have the first fruits of the Ruach that the first did not have. Yeah, we'd have to go back and read. What that say? Yeah, that's something. I'll do it. I'm gonna go a little longer than you. But let me see where I want to start with. Oh, not just the verse. See that one there, it's another one where the parable comes. This is after he talked to the apostles, and he said that many that first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Let me look in Greek what last and first is. Let me do that. Because there's words that ain't even there. So first in Greek is protos, first in time or place in succession of things or persons, first in rank, influence, honor, chief, principle. So you see in any succession of things or persons. So those who were first in succession, you know, all them, they would be last. But what is last? That is eschatos, extreme, last in time or place, last in series of place, last in temporal succession. So what were they? They were last in a series or time and place. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm gonna read this Hebrews 11 while it's in my brain since I mentioned it. Hebrews 11, and I won't read it. Pick it up at about verse 34 or 33. Who through faith subdued kingdoms and worked righteousness and obtained promises and stopped the mouth of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again. Others were tortured, not accepting deliverance that they might obtain a better resurrection. Others had true trial of mockings, scourgings, yea, moreover, bonds of imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskin and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and mornings and in dens and caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. So the first were last, because the first did not receive the promise. He said, but Elohim having provided such better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. So those of us who came last, and it's kind of like the similitude of the parable. You probably talking about the parable with the gentleman with the penny. You know what I'm talking about? Remember when he said, I paid everybody the same wage, no matter how long of a time that they worked? Because those who came at the last get the same reward as those who came first. So like I said, right, this is why he preached to the spirits in prison. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did not, remember, we just read earlier in Matthew, he said, many righteous men have desired to hear the things that you have heard and have not heard them. Remember, Peter wrote, we talked about this about a week or so ago. What did Peter say? He said, the prophets of before time, signifying the testimony of the Ruach HaMashiach in them, that they wanted to know what they were prophesying about, and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So the first were last, and the last were first, because Paul wrote that we have the first fruits of the Spirit. So you had an opportunity. I've been telling you this for years. Be thankful that you were born after the Lord came than before, because you have a better opportunity than what they had before. Now, it's not that they got left behind, but you didn't have to go through none of the things that they had to go through as far as being in the covenant, which couldn't give everlasting life. You know what I'm talking about? You have a lot of people, they be like, oh yeah, I wish I was in the wilderness. No, you don't. A lot of people just be talking. You don't want nothing to do with what the people had going on back then, because you was going to die without mercy. You know what I'm saying? You have an opportunity at mercy that your forefathers did not have. And when I say that, meaning that you're a part of a covenant that literally has mercy instilled in it. The covenant that was made with your forefathers on Mount Sinai did not have mercy in it. Meaning the mercy was strictly with Yahuwah. Now, of course, mercy is always strictly with Yahuwah, but that first covenant did not have mercy attached to it, but the new one does. Why? Because the new one is emblematic of you having his spirit, and because you've already transgressed against him. That's why Paul always says, should we sin that grace may abound? No, because your forefathers didn't have that. That's right. It's not there. When they broke that covenant, the law said everybody's supposed to die. So they didn't die not because of the covenant, but because of Yahuwah. There was no room for the pardon sin. Why that Exodus 23 and 20 with that Malachi, he said, don't you try because I can't pardon your transgressions now. I'm going to have to kill you. See, that's what people don't be understanding. I would say, what type of God would kill somebody? But you don't say that about Mr. Charlie when he come lock you up for them 30, 40 years. You don't say what type of man to give me 40 years for murder. You don't say none of that. You don't question Mr. Charlie about nothing he do. But you got the unmitigated audacity to question your who. Why? What type of God to kill? The type of God who you shouldn't be bucking against. Why you think it's consequences with man but not consequences with God? That don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. And we don't even like the consequences have to be spoken because you need to respect his power. But we would rather talk about the things that pertain to salvation. But too many people are hard-headed and disobedient. So those things just can't be. Don't you know we would rather think about the things of the kingdom at all times? It's, don't you know Mashiach balanced that? I hate to say balance it out, but he talked about the kingdom and the wrath. Because just like Paul wrote, there's goodness with Elohim and there's also severity. Because you need to respect him. See, a lot of people's problem is they don't respect him. They don't have any respect for him. And when you don't have respect for somebody, then you feel like you can do whatever you want. Finish that Proverbs 8 so we can get out here from it. We'll get further down through Job 38, God willing, eventually. He said, blessed are those who do what?
Keep my way.
He said, listen, hearken unto me. Listen, what else he said?
Hear instruction and be
rebuke and chastisement. He say, listen and obey when you get checked.
And refuse it not.
He say you'll have skill and don't refuse it. Why?
Baruch the man that hear me, watching daily.
Blessed is the man who do what?
Hear me.
Blessed is he that have an ear, let him hear.
Watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my door.
Did he tell you to do what? Watch. Come on.
For whosoever find me, find life.
If you find him, you find what?
Life.
You find him, you find what?
Life.
The words that I speak unto you, they are ruach and they are life. I'm the resurrection and the life. And then what he said? And he said, seek and you'll find. And search the scriptures, because in them you think you have eternal life. And there they would testify of me. He said, but you won't do what? Come to me, that you might have what? Life. Come on.
And shall obtain favor of Yahuwah.
You'll obtain what?
Favor of Yahuwah.
That's the ruach hakadash.
But he that sinned against me wronged his own soul.
But if you sin, you hurting yourself. You ain't hurting him.
All that hate me love death.
If you hate the word, you love death. You know what I'm saying? Don't you realize how many people in this world, they love death? Let me come back to the Job 38 a little bit, man. Look at verse 5. He said, who laid the measures thereof, if you know? Who have stretched the line upon it? Well, we just read where he said that he stretched out the Shamahim like a curtain, right? He said, whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Who laid the cornerstone thereof? Now give him foundations, give him fasten, give him cornerstone. Foundation.
And then that is base, pedestal, socket.
So this is the base. Remember what he said about Peter, what he said, upon this rock, I'm going to build my house. That would be the foundation. Now give him a fasten. Because he said, where's the base fastened? Go ahead.
That's all to sink into, to pierce, settle down, ground, be settled, be planted. To
be planted. Now you go look, remember he talked about the firmament in Genesis 1 about how he fastened that. Now where's the chief cornerstone? Give him that. I should already know that. That's in Psalms.
No, that is corner.
Corner. Chief thing.
And stone is a bin, that is a stone.
So think about that, right? You know who the chief cornerstone is. He said, where were you when that was laid? Give them laid by definition. They see what that means.
Yara, to throw, shoot, pass, pour.
Also to instruct, to teach. So he say, so when I talked to the chief cornerstone, where was you at? Because we just read, he said, I was brought up with him and I was his delight. So where was you at when the Father taught the Son? Ain't that what he said in Proverbs 30? Which one of y'all went into heaven? What's his name? What's his son's name, if you can tell? Which one of you done taught Yahuwah in the way of righteousness and show him understanding? What would he tell him, though? Where was you at when I made all this stuff and I made my son and I taught him? Where was you at? That's why he say, my father's given me a commandment what I should say and what I should speak. And I know his commandment is life everlasting. And everybody who hate him, they love death. Now listen to the next thing. When the morning stars sang together and the sons of Elohim shouted for joy. So now you got the day star. Now see, that's in Hebrews where he tell all the angels, get it for him. Hebrews 1:6, man. I'm going to read you verse 8 and do. Or shut up the sea with doors when it break forth. It had issued out of the womb. When I made the clouds garments thereof and thick darkness as a swaddling band for it, and break it up for my decree and set bars and doors. Hitherto you shall come no further. Here shall your proud ways be stayed. Have you commanded the morning since your day calls the day spring to know his plan? I wanted it in your brain. You know what I'm talking about? Listen to what the next thing is. Take hold of the ends of the work earth that the wicked might be shaken out of it. It is turned as clay, the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Have you entered into the springs of the sea? Have you walked in the search of the depth? Have the gates of death been opened unto you? Have you seen the doors of the shadow of death? Now I'm really like we're gonna look at it again, because guess what that verse 17 telling you about? What verse 17 telling you about, boo? We'll make verses 16 and 17 specifically. He said, have you walked in the search of the depth? Have the gates of death been opened unto you? Preaching to the spirits in prison again. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want y'all to see this here because we ain't talked about it in a while. Because remember, he said the earth was without form and void. That means it was confusion and chaos on the earth. You know what I'm talking about? That's what he's talking about. He asking Job, where was you when all this happened? Now, why is this relevant? Because he told you the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. The story was already, remember, he slain the lamb for the foundation of the world. So that means everything that could be done was done before the world was made. And that's what I be meaning when I tell you that the story, you just living it out. This has already been done. He said the lamb was slain from the foundation of the world. That means this has already been done. That means he went and preached to the spirits of prison. All this has already been accomplished. This is how the first shall be last and the last shall be first. That's how the first was able to get what the last got first. Because you got it before he went in the grave. They got it after he went in the grave. But go ahead and read that with you. I just want y'all to think on them verses. Y'all willing, we're going to touch the first thing tomorrow afternoon.
And again, when he bring in the first begotten into the world,
what he said?
He said, and let all the Malachims of Elohim worship him.
Do what?
Worship him.
Don't you, when you worship Elohim, don't you sing when you do it? And that's what he do. Be like, man, they don't worship Jesus. Why y'all worship Jesus? Why y'all worship Yahushua? Why wouldn't you worship God? What's wrong with you, boy? He ain't God. So you saying he the Father? I'm not going. See, it'd be so hard for people to separate that Yahuwah is not the Father. He's not Abba. Yahuwah is Yahusha. Yahusha is Yahuwah. You know no other Elohim. He is your Elohim. He is your Father. He birthed you. He made the heavens and the earth. He made Adam and all that dwell upon it. He made the fishes of the sea and the mountains and the ranges. He made the clouds in heaven. He made the firmament. He made every single solitary thing. And in his infinite wisdom and mercies, the Father said, now Yahuwah, go down on earth and manifest yourself as a man. And people be like this here, well, Yahushua means Yahuwah is salvation. So who you think Yahuwah is, son? All he did was add son on his name. Right or wrong?
It's simple.
It's really that simple. Yahushua literally means Yahuwah is salvation, right? Does not the Old Testament say Yahuwah is salvation, like literally in certain parts that Yahuwah is salvation? So guess what he decided to do? You sinned against me, broke my covenant. My father said, you know what? I'm going to make you a little lesser than the Malachim, son. And I want you to go down there to him and tell him that you are salvation. Because who's the only person who can save according to the Old Testament? Yahuwah. Ain't that what it say? And get what he did. He came down here and saved and delivered man from sin. We ought to be glad. But you know what we rather do? argue, fuss, and fight about stuff that we trying to convince ourselves that we believe in. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, man. We get all off here, man. I appreciate everybody's time this evening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you was with the Lord this evening because you wasn't here with me. Y'all wasn't listening to me. Y'all just only come for occasional joke. Y'all don't really care about me. It's okay. My baby don't even care for me. She only like her mom. She smiled at me for a little bit, but she said, "You ain't got no busy beavers,
No.
and no milk." Well, y'all should see it with the busy beavers, man. But hey, I bless y'all in the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, man. Yahuwah willing, man. We're going to pick this up on tomorrow, man. Make it do what it do. Prayerfully, we can get crunk up by about 2:30. But I want y'all to think about them verses in that Job 38 because we're going to talk about them again. We'll backtrack to Job 37 just because that's Elihu talking. I didn't Job 38 first because that's Yahuwah talking. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to deal with. Like I told y'all, Yahuwah's talking in 38, 39, 40, and 41. That's all Yahuwah talking. You know what I'm saying? And he going through the elements of creation with him. So we're gonna be talking about, because I don't think we ever did a long time talking about creation. I don't think we ever done did a long time talking about it. We didn't talk about it, but not it just being a continual long specific focus. So that's what we're gonna do. But those of y'all on Clubhouse, man, if you got something y'all want to say or ask, you can go ahead. But on YouTube, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. And we are going to get on off of here this evening. Y'all willing to do it tomorrow? Oh, that's what I said. That might be fine in the back. Yeah, because it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff in Job, man. We're gonna have